Yomi Jekede, Ezinwa, Nell Cyril, Bridget. Well, I think we are so late already, so let's go ahead and call upon let's go ahead and share with our friends and colleagues, and it's time to move on. So today we are continuing what we started with, knowing and understanding God through love. Knowing and understanding God through love. So the whole thing we are doing this series is an attempt to help us to know God better and to understand God better. And one of the ways we can do this is through love. Love is the quickest and the most realistic way to get to discover God and to know Him. So knowing and understanding God through love. Sorry for today. Sorry for all the delays and the mess up and the the trouble with the computer or internet. Everything was going off. But we are ready to go now. So knowing and understanding God through love. So what we are going to do, but the topic of today is why love turns to hate. Why love turns to hate. Why love turns to hate. Now that's a very big and a very serious subject. I discovered that many people never even think about this. That love often turns to hate. I'm sure most of us have come across this before. Maybe if not all of us, almost all of us have come across this kind of situation. And even if you have not thought about it, you have encountered it nevertheless. And the simple, most evident argument about that is the fact that 8 out of 10 marriages end up in divorce. So if 8 out of 10 marriages end up in divorce, what leads to that? What could be the reason for that? Is because they used to love one another, and then they discovered that they cannot stand one another anymore. Maybe they are even hating one another now. So love turns to hate. That's the reality of our love. Of our lives. And that's why we want to examine the situation. Why on earth, how on earth can somebody love another person so bad? And now that love becomes so sour to the extent of even divorcing and not wanting to see each other anymore. Sometimes to the extent of killing one another. Sometimes to the extent of hating one another. What goes wrong? What are the dynamics in operation that makes two people who once vowed to each other that they will never leave each other, that they will live with each other for the rest of their lives, that they have chosen to be together for the rest of their lives, that partner is the person they are going to love for the rest of their lives. Whatever makes that to go wrong, whatever makes things to go wrong to the extent that these people cannot stand each other anymore. What happens? Is there any spiritual dynamic story? Is there any law of life that is responsible for that? Definitely, there are some laws, some algorithms, some principles, some laws that are responsible for this kind of occurrences. And I already did that. I already did a topic like this. Why love turns to hate. I did that on the family series. So if you are going to check, we have now the family series on our YouTube, on our Facebook page, YouTube page, Sunday Adelaide Official on YouTube. If you go there, you will discover that we have a whole session or a whole series that is called Why Love Turns to Hate. And there are like maybe 14 or so, or 8, maybe 8 or 14 messages there. So, but today I just want to generally go over it and examine this situation with you in the general context, that this is a reality and a regular occurrence in life, that people say they love each other and then they end up divorcing. I'm going to challenge you to come and debate this with me today, even though I'm sure you didn't expect it, but I'm going to call you to come out. I'm going to call Mayowa. You know Mayowa as our own personality that is dealing more with pastors and all the religious cabals. But today I'm going to ask her to talk as a commentator. So, have you come up? Today's topic that I'm examining is why love turns to hate. Now, the question I have for you, Mayowa, is come close. Why love turns to hate? I asked this question, I think, from Julie yesterday, and she was saying it's not a concept. It's not something that people really think about too much. Even though they might come across it, they might be coming across it regularly and seeing it, but they don't really give it that explanation. That now that you talk about it, we say, oh yeah, it's true. But normal people, they just think, okay, we fall out. Or, well, things just don't work out. I know you told a story one time of two friends, or so, maybe many friends, in the UK, where these friends end up killing one another. One killed the other one. They used to be friends, classmates, and friendship became so sour that one ended up killing the other one. But these are just young people. And then, but marriages is a proof of the fact that love will often turn to hate. So why does this kind of thing happen? And I want to talk about that. I will give the reason why it happens. But I want to just ask you if you are familiar with such an occurrence, with such reality of life. If you have come across such reality and you know instances like that, and if it's a thing that people recognize and realize that it's an ongoing, repetitive occurrences in almost every family. There is no family where you don't have a family member hating one another, even though they started out loving each other. Or they might not use the word hate, but they might say they can't stand one another. Or even with children and parents, fathers and mothers. So this whole idea of love becoming hate is not just a reality of our day, I think. I think from what I'm thinking, because I'm analyzing life in general. But I need to hear other people's opinion about this. After you, maybe I'm going to call Dr. Anu or somebody. But we need to. I just need to meditate with people about it. About, is it something that happens? Or is it something that happens that people don't realize? Or is something that people have never really thought about?
Yes. Well, just personal experiences, even with friends and family, that we've been very close, and I would say that we love each other then, and all of a sudden we're happier without each other, I think, and even when other people that knows us together would ask, how is this your friend or this your auntie that I always see you together, I just say, I'm happy the person is there and I'm here, so
you cannot stand each other anymore.
No, not spend time, and it's not the same anymore.
But apart from your personal life or family, but in general in life, is it something that people notice?
Yes, I think it's something that they notice. They don't know why.
Okay.
But they know that love tends to hate. And maybe again, like you said, they might not call it hate. They might just say, I know this person better, and what I know I don't like, rather than it turning to hate. They wouldn't say that it tends to hate, because nobody like to say, especially people of a little bit of understanding, they don't want to admit that they hate anybody. So they'll rather just say, we're not close anymore. Yeah, I can't stand this person, or we're just doing our own thing. Something more liberal to say rather than say hate. Because I wouldn't like to say hate personally. I just say, it's better. We still say hello to each other. When I see them, I'll greet them, and I'm okay with seeing them, but we're not very close anymore. Sometimes they even say they're not very close anymore. And these are people that they're very close before.
They used to adore.
Yes.
Okay, I've seen that happen to me a lot, but I know why it happens, and not me hating people or not me disliking people, but I've seen that happen in attitude to me, and I'm in relations to me, and I'm going to explain why that happens. It's not that people are bad; people are okay, but just people don't know the laws of life. So, what about parents? What about children hating or not being able to stand their parents?
Yes, I think that's even more common now, nowadays. It happens with both parents that have, I'm thinking right now in my mind, parents that have children that are homosexual and they don't talk to their children anymore. And I saw a film recently, and the mother was saying that she doesn't want to have anything to do with the son. And it was very hard for me to watch. It was only a few minutes clipped, just because he said that he's gay.
At least there is an explanation there.
Yes.
But that is, most people will understand that. But there are places where there are no gay.
No.
Just life situation, just in relationship to each other.
Yes.
People tell their mommy or their daddy or their parents, don't ever come to visit me anymore. I don't want to hear anymore. People leave, and for years they don't talk to each other. Family members. And they used to be close.
Yep.
That's the occurrence we're talking about.
Yes, that happens a lot. I have seen that as well. And even sometimes they might not even say, don't come to me anymore, but they just stop contacting each other. You don't call your parents as much as you do. You would, they would like you to. And you don't go around to see them. They don't come around to see you. They can't stay. I don't know. I don't know why it happens like that, but it's very
I'm going
common.
to explain why it happens like that now. Okay, let's hear what I know we have to say about this. Is it something you are familiar with, or is it just women who are familiar with it?
No, I think this occurs. It's inevitable in life. By that it happens in personal relationship with people, even without having any form of necessary intimacy. But
this is talking of love.
Yeah.
Going from love.
From love to hate.
Yeah, not just people hating each other.
Yeah.
That is not a common thing. People can hate each other. But I'm talking of people who loved each other before.
Yeah.
Not love like marital love.
So from love with friendship, love with
best friends
in schools, exactly. So I think it happens, and even people notice it, but we don't just think about it. Why did this happen? We just think that's life happens. For example, I have a best friend that I had in school that we're so close, we're like nothing can separate us.
Yeah.
And
that's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You know it?
Yeah, and then even a friend of mine still asked me about my best friend that I had in high school, and he was asking me that, you guys were like best pals, like doing everything together. Also, what was the last time you had from him? I'm like, I can't even remember. Yeah, and because we just feel like as we progress in life, some things, it just happens that some people you leave them behind, and even sometimes it can even turn to hate. Yeah, and sometimes that one happens. That's one end.
That's just separation.
Yeah.
That's different. But I'm talking about situation whereby
it now turns to hate.
Hot love turns to hate.
Yeah, exactly. So that is one angle to it. And the other angle to it is when you guys have so much love together, and now you friendship, but now you guys you don't want to even see the person. Yeah, it happens, but we don't just know why it happens. And sometimes we only know why when the reason is obvious. But when the reason is not obvious, we don't get to really ask the question, why did I even hate this person? What really happened between us? We didn't have a fight.
No, you are talking about reasons in terms of why that particular thing happened. I'm talking about the occurrence.
Generally.
Yes.
Well, I think it's a concept that we need to even know more about. Yeah, because it happens generally, but I think we don't know exactly why this thing happens. Why love comes to hate.
How is it that worldwide now, 8 out of 10 marriages end up in divorce? And divorce cannot happen if there's no hatred.
True.
The only reason why divorce happens is because people cannot even stand one another anymore.
Yeah.
So
we need
for the people to take each other to the altar
and then end up
that looks like love to me.
Yeah, that is love. Even making promises, even saying I will be with you forever, I wouldn't leave you alone, we're going to be together, and then even they're even an envy for everyone to see that. Look at how much they love themselves, and then it turns to hate. Then that's something serious.
Okay, it's peace.
Okay.
Let's hear peace. You go stay at Angaran. We are going to hear peace's opinion. Does this thing happen in Africa?
Yeah.
Oh, you look like Oyibo. Come closer. Does this happen?
Yeah, it happens, and my opinion about it is that when people are in love, that is the only situation where truth can be told about you, and people don't like to hear the truth. It is only when somebody loves you that the person can boldly tell you the truth about you, the wrong you're doing. And when the person tries to be pointing at your weak point that you don't want to let go, it turns to hate. It turns to hate because...
But not just in marriage, Joe.
Not just in marriage, even with God. Because God...
Beautiful. That is one point that I wanted to make. Beautiful. Yeah. Even with God.
Even with God, because God, if He loves you, He will constantly correct you.
And you might not like it.
And you will not like it. So you begin to hate God.
Beautiful.
You begin to hate God.
Many Christians who are in churches, actually, they have grudges against God.
Yes. Yes, because they don't want to
They might be singing, praise and worship, dancing, but they are having grudges against God.
Yes. Yes.
Or maybe they think God didn't answer their prayers. Or maybe there is something they are asked from God and God didn't do.
Yes. Yes, it happens all the time because...
What about among parents and children?
Okay, yeah, it happens among parents because if parents love their children, they must constantly be correcting them. And children don't... When a child is addicted to a particular character, the child doesn't want to let go, and the child doesn't even want to hear, don't do this, don't do that. They don't want to take correction because they love that particular situation. So, but when a parent is in love with their children, they constantly tell the child the truth about the situation, tell the child about the truth about life, and the child will not want to take it, and it will turn to hate. My parents hate me when I was growing up because my dad was a religious person, and there are many things he wouldn't want me to do, and I want to do them. I want to do them. I go to school and
that means a lot of children.
Yes, and I see children doing it, and their parents are not talking to them, and my dad will be, so angry, correcting me. I thought my dad hated me.
Was wicked. Okay.
I was so angry about him. It was when I was grown up, I started with, so this was really
the reason.
Parting my life. It wasn't as in my dad hates me. It was trying to correct me because of the love he has for me.
I want to show you people a video now.
Okay.
Don't go away. Well, you can sit down and then come and I will call you. And because I want to show a video that will shock you people. It's going to shock you. But it's a proof of how love turns to hate. This is almost impossible, but it happened. Let's have a look at this.
Was shocked to hear about this case. Rusty Yates returned home from work to a nightmare. His 5 children had been drowned in the bathtub by their own mother, his wife, Andrea Yates. NBC's Janet Shanley sat down with one of the few people who remains in contact with Andrea Yates as she lives out her days in a mental hospital.
It was a crime that horrified the nation in June of 2001, 15 years ago. Andrea Yates drowning her 5 children in the bathtub of her Houston area home. She then called 911 to report what she'd done.
You need an ambulance? No, I need a police officer. You're going to stay in on.
Noah, John, Paul, Luke, and baby Mary, 7 years to just 6 months old. Her husband Rusty was working at the time. He returned to a scene of sheer terror.
Cops were crying. There was a lot of emotion there. They were the guys that had gone in that house and had to recover the bodies. This morning, police found...
Phil Archer of NBC station KPRC was the first reporter on the scene.
They brought Andrea out, and her clothes were still wet, and her hair was still wet from the bathtub. And they brought her out, and she looked like a zombie. There was a sort of wildness in her eyes.
Even with a long and documented history of mental illness, including suicide attempts, she was charged and convicted of capital murder. But the verdict was later overturned, and in a subsequent trial, she was found not guilty by reason of insanity. She testified she believed her children's deaths would save their souls. Andrea Yates was committed to a Texas mental hospital where she remains today, now 52 years old.
You talk to Andrea on a weekly basis?
I'd say probably about every 7 or 8 days.
How is she doing?
She is, I think, doing remarkably well. She has excellent care.
George Parnham was and still is Andrea's attorney.
There's not a day that goes by where she doesn't care for, talk about, is happy about her children's lives before June the 20th, and grieves for her children.
Parnham says she spends her days making crafts, which are sold anonymously to benefit charity. And according to People magazine, she also spends time watching videos of her children.
The hospital where she is, there are no razor wires, there's no bars, there's no armed guards, no fences.
For the most part, it's a life of solitude. She never leaves the hospital and has few visitors. And while the case comes up for review yearly, Andrea has never sought to be released. Rusty Yates divorced Andrea 3 years after the incident. He later remarried and had another child, a son who's now 8. According to recent court documents, his second wife filed for divorce last year. In a 2015 interview with Oprah Winfrey, he spoke about his grieving and where his acceptance is now.
For some reason, when I think about them today, I think of them as being, teenagers.
Because he would be 20.
Or young adults.
Your oldest son would be 20 now.
It's real easy to get caught up in how they suffered or the fact that they're gone. And what I tried to do was say, look, I'm not going to let these events steal, that joy, the joy that we had for those 7 years.
I can name a worse situation than this, maybe with the exception of Sandy Hook. The added element here, of course, is that the children were killed by the one person that should have guaranteed their safety.
5 beautiful lives lost, 15 years later, a tragedy that still resonates. For today, Janet Shanley and NBC News, Houston.
Hello, today fans. Thanks for checking out our YouTube.
What do you say? Can you imagine the love of a woman, the love of a mother for her child? But even that love could get so to the extent, could get to such a place whereby a mother that gave birth, that carried them, she's not like a stepmother. The mother that gave birth to those children herself, killed not one child, not 2 children, not 3 children. So the craze to have children, the craze to just give birth, the addiction of the culture, the pressure of the culture, that a wife must give birth, a woman must give birth, a woman must give birth. The lady was already having mental attacks. She already had, schizophrenic and insanity issues, but she was still able to give birth, and she was still giving birth. But when a woman is having insanity issue, I think pregnancy and giving birth on its own is another additional stress. That's what I think. And then having 5 children when you're already having mental situation, I think the society also needs to take some responsibility for that kind of death and that kind of tragedy, because we put pressure on women that women must give birth. 1 child, 2nd child, 3rd child. In this particular situation, one could say it is because of the mental situation, but in life things could happen like this. That's such a huge love that the woman had for her children, such a huge love that a mother had for the children. What could make it to get to a situation that she killed all 5 of them in one day by drowning them? So let me call the people who are here to debate and to discuss this issue. You don't want to discuss this one, though? This one you are not ready for it. Okay, we'll call you for the next one. Okay, you come. The women are too touched in this one. Okay, let's start with the men.
I'm trying to process it.
Even the man himself is struggling.
Yeah.
The women are not coming out. But even the man is struggling.
I'm trying to process it because I wanted to hear your own feedback about it. I want to know how you're processing it, because I mean, I'm processing it from a mental
health practitioner.
Yeah, that, I mean, this woman, for her to, because what she said was she believed, or she thought, that drowning her children, her 5 children, would, I mean, the intent was to save their souls.
Because she became religious.
Yeah. So,
but it's a mental, it's a what do you call it, hallucination, or what do you call it? Hallucination. Yeah.
Oh no, it's more of a delusion. Okay. Yeah, it's a delusional idea. I mean, just these are fantasy. Is what she thinks. I mean, and if she had a discussion with somebody else about this, and someone told her that, hey, drowning your children will not be.
She didn't.
Yeah, definitely. She would say no. It's going to. So it's more of a delusion. But for me, I'm bringing it to the subject of why love
turns to hate,
and how a mother. Let's take this case aside now, because
it's a unique case.
Yeah, it's a unique case.
Okay.
But how the love of a parent can get to that state where it has become hatred for that child. I think I've heard of similar situations that the parents loved this child. I mean, grew up loving this child, but at the moment they don't want to even see the child,
or vice versa,
or
it could be the children who don't want to see the parents.
Don't want to even. I mean, they don't want to even reckon to the fact that there is a mother of theirs,
or father.
So it's something really. I mean, it's something really complex.
Okay, you want me to dissect the something before we discuss?
Yeah, I think it's something really complex.
Okay, let's do that then. So why does love turn to hate, and what could ever happen, and what happens in the man that love will turn to hate? 1. All problems in the world are love problems. Always remember that whenever you want to approach any problem or discuss any situation. All problem in life, I'm talking about human problems now, in terms of human relationship. All problems in life is a love problem. Remember that as a formula. So all problems in the world are a love problem. She's always bringing the word. All problems in the world is a love problem. all problems in the world is a love problem. Either loving yourself too much or not loving others as yourself. But there is one point that I've not mentioned yet in this thing I've just read. That is the reason why love turns to hate. See what I just said? All problem is a love problem. Either loving yourself too much, that is one reason, one factor, but they are loving others or not loving others as yourself. There is one more point. Let's keep on reading. Maybe we'll find a reason here. A misdirected love is loving the wrong things, maybe self and other things, instead of loving God and others. There is a point here I'm missing. We have to add it. And let me add it. Why love turns to hate. All problems in the world is a love problem. Either loving yourself too much, that's the reason for most of the problems, or not loving others as yourself, that's number two. Then listen, this is what you have to add. This is what you have to add. Or loving others too much. Love turns to hatred because of loving others too much. So all problems in the world is a love problem. Either loving yourself too much or not loving others as yourself, or loving others too much. Now, there is another aspect of it which is a misdirected love, loving the wrong things, self and other things, instead of loving God and others. But there is a factor also that is called loving others too much. Listen to me. Whenever any person loves another person overwhelmingly too much, and it doesn't correct it on time, doesn't stop, doesn't slow down on time, then calamities begin to happen to help you slow it down. That's why, for example, a husband and a wife, for example, married and they had a honeymoon. In a honeymoon, everything is like heaven on earth. But honeymoon most likely lasts for a month. And before the end of that honeymoon, some differences, some disagreements already start happening. Maybe not in the honeymoon, maybe 2 weeks after the honeymoon, maybe 2 months after the honeymoon, maybe 3 months after the honeymoon. Now, those cracks that you begin to see in the wall, and those disagreements, and those quarrels and conflicts you begin to experience, is actually your Savior. Because if the intensity of the love will keep on growing, the first thing that will happen is the person who is loving the other too much could go ballistic, like that woman. When you idolize children, you either killing those children, but in this case there are 5 children, and when you love them too much, 5, you lose it. Either you lose it, or those children, things begin to happen to them, or you lose them. So any problem you see among people is all a love problem. Now, I'm going to call upon you. Leave God out now. Now, so don't say God punished them. Don't say God retaliate or God is a jealous God. Let's leave that out right now. But from the principles I already taught you, And all of you, you people should remember when I brought people, Mayowa out here and Julie out here. What is the reason? What happens when you love somebody too much? Why does that lead to the death of that person? You remember when I brought Tatiana out as well? Why does loving somebody too much leads to the death of that person? The person, the object of love. But in this case, the madness of the one who is loving too much. Why? Let's talk about why does the object of love dies. Either it is your future, either it is a desire or a pleasure or a person. How many of you still remember? So why will too much love kill 5 children? Even if it's not with our own hands, those children are still going to die. But she is going to be the reason for it, even though it might not be through her hands. Why does loving somebody too much leads to the death of that object of love? Anybody wants to talk about that? Come on. We'll see how good a student you are.
Yeah.
There are several reasons you could give, so let's hear your argument.
I think the first reason is that when you love someone to that extent, what happens is that, like you taught us, that you place that person in a position where the person cannot deliver. I mean, because when God says that He is the only one that we should love with all of our hearts, with all of our soul, and with all of our mind, with everything, it is because He is He is love. He's the source of love. You cannot exhaust Him. So no matter the demand that you place on Him, He will deliver, because He is love personified. But when you place that demand on a human being who doesn't have the ability, who doesn't have the capability to deliver as you demand, you ruin that person. I mean, you cause that person to actually die, because the person cannot. I mean, it's just like a demand and supply thing. You are making so much demand because of the love that you have for that person, but the person doesn't have what it takes to give that adequate supply. So like you're just drawing and sucking life from the person, and so the more you suck life from the person is like you're just choking me, and I'm like, you're asking me for this, but I can't give you what you're asking me for, and then bam, the person dies. The person loses his life.
Beautiful. You have a good one, but anybody want to add to it? Either from another aspect or add, there are different other arguments. Come. Don't worry about it. Be bold. Be bold. I explained to us, why does love turn to hate? Why is it that the object of love would die when we love too much?
Okay, my own
explanation
in this aspect is when you love someone too much, it actually makes you value that person equal to God. And as Pastor taught us the other day, he said God is supposed to be above. When you now place that person above, there is no coverage.
Like this.
Yeah, there is no coverage.
God is supposed to be the protection for everybody.
Exactly.
And since you replace the person above God, you expose the person.
You now expose the person. So another one is when you love somebody too much, you actually place that person, you have make that person an idol, and God hates idol. And Pastor taught last week that God said he's going to bring a soil to separate, so that we will actually know that that value you place on that person is supposed to belong to God. So we are not supposed to love somebody above God. God is a jealous God. You cannot, place a value that is supposed to be given to God on an individual. When you begin to do that, you virtually put that person in danger.
So now, come guy. Okay, I think you want to. Okay, very beautiful. You remembered. You see, you remembered.
Yeah.
You listen.
Yes.
Let's get.
I remember a similar thing to what the book said, but I remember you saying that we by loving somebody too much, you're sucking the energy out of them. You're draining them out of energy, and eventually that person is going to either be sick or the person may die as well once you suck out all the energy from them. But in this case of this woman, with the way
she lost it.
Yes, she lost it because probably the children cannot give her the love.
No. Not just she cannot give her. Okay, now let's deal with the situation with the children. Let's deal with this particular woman and the killing of the children. Yeah, you want us to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In this particular situation, a problem, I don't know her. I never interviewed her. I've never spoken to her. I didn't know the big story. This thing I showed you is what I know. But because of my researches and my, understanding and thinking and knowing principles of life, I know, and I will say that our problem started long before she married. Are you getting it? Not yet? Not yet. I should continue.
Yes.
If you want to go and join, you can join. Our problem started long before she married. When she was still young, as a young girl, she had idolized marriage, children. You get it? So she had idolized the office, not office, the marriage institution. She had idolized the marriage institution and dreamt, even before those children came to life, she had lived by them. So she had been sucking those children dead even before they came to life. Now, but in her own case, what happened is that she gave back to them too rapidly,
7 years, 5 children.
In 7 years, 5 children is just insane. In 7 years, 5 children, there are so many of them, even though she's supposed to love them, but that love she had for them is not just you are going the right direction, that those children are not able to return because she was having an ideal expectation of children. She was having an idealized, what do you call it? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Ideal. The expectation she had.
It's that children are blessing. Yeah. She's the kind that thinks that children are blessing. Most women are not being told that children, before they become blessing, they are first of all sacrificed. Children are always sacrificed. But we don't hear about that almost. Children are not blessing, first of all. Children are a blessing in the ephemerical, right? Yeah. In the ephemerical understanding of it. Blessing in the ephemerical of understanding, blessing. But that is ephemerical. But in real life, children are suffering, children are pain, children are deprivation. Children are deprivation. Children are tolerance, pain, long suffering, perseverance. Children are not blessed. No, in quote. Children are labor. Children are suffering. But so anybody who thinks and idolizes children, thinking that they are blessings, puts herself in a danger of depression, of chronic depression, which is mental disorder. That's what she had. Because the children are not only not a blessing, because they are too young. 5 children in 7 years, they are too young to be a blessing to her. But her husband was walking away. She is the only one at home with those 5 children from morning till night. It's no more that there are no more blessing, or they will be blessing sometime before. She cannot think about that anymore. It is only children. One is in sucking your breast, one is to tell you, one is on your head. Those children are source of love. They became only source of irritation, anger, desperation. They ran mad. You see why she ran mad now?
This gives so much insight. I'm going to use this now to the reason why out of 10 marriages we have 8 people that are divorced.
I was still going to ask you people that on the basis of this teaching we are going now, do you now know why 8 out of 10 marriages end up in divorce? Also, do you now understand why conflicts between parents and children is the greatest blessing ever that could ever Now you go ahead.
Yes, I got it. Why? Because now this is the reason, just from this explanation, I mean, it's just like a light bulb just came up. This is the reason why in 10 marriages, 8 ends up in divorce. And this is why. Because first, it starts with the pressure and the idea that marriage brings fulfillment. And that marriage is, without marriage, there is no success in life. So this culture and this ideology has created pictures in the mind of, a young girl is thinking of a white gown from her childhood. She's thinking of how she's going to look like on the wedding day. So she has an ideal picture in her mind saying, okay, the day I get married, I'm waiting for the day, my wedding day, I'm waiting to have a husband. So now in her mind, she has a lot of fantasy, a lot of ideas, and so she has idolized the marriage constitution. So what happens is that now, because of the ideology that she has, there are certain expectations that she has about her future husband. Saying, this is the kind of man I expect to see. When we get married, this is how the marriage will look like. This is how our first night will look like. Our first month. So she has idolized the concept of marriage, and then she has given an ideal picture in her mind of what the man should look like, and how the man should treat her, and how the man should talk to her, what he should say to her in the night before she sleeps. So all of this has created an ideal picture in her mind. So now she's waiting for the day for marriage, waiting to meet that guy. So now she meets the man, or maybe the man meets the woman, and then they get married, and then the first week, maybe it looks like it, but then 1 month after, this doesn't look like the picture I had in my mind when I was a teenager. This doesn't look like, I didn't expect marriage to be this, because marriage in itself is work. Marriage in itself is tasking. This is that 2 people coming to live together with different ideologies, and this is just a whole job together. It's challenging, it's painful. So now when she gets into this marriage, and then our reality doesn't fall in line with our ideal picture in her mind, that is exactly where the catastrophe comes in. So because she had an idea of what the marriage should look like, she had the picture, she has idolized marriage, and then when reality sets in, and our reality is not in sync with our ideology of what it should look like, they can't keep on, because she's like, no, all of my dreams are shattered. All of my hopes, this is what I've been living for all my life, for me to find this man. And then I found him, I got married to him, and it doesn't look like what I've expected. I can't continue. We can't continue living together, and bam, divorce happens. So this is what I understand by this concept, why love turns to hate.
Is there any reason why you're saying she?
No. It works together. But the pressure more is more on ladies, anyways. Yeah,
it could be men.
It could be men definitely, but it's more on. I mean, coming from my.
She would now come from the other side.
From the other side, yeah. So give it.
Don't worry.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm going to say he as well now. So, with the guys or with men, they have the expectation of a woman without actually looking at the substance of marriage or relationship. We're looking at the ideal, what we have in our head. But obviously, at times, what is in the head is not what reality is. So when people come together, in this case, we're using marriage as an example. So when you come together, the reality of what you see, like, you know, what you see in the magazine or in the picture, even when you met the girl, you know, she's nicely dressed, she's well shaped, everything is well packaged. But when you actually see the person day to day, it's another story entirely. What you see is totally different from the picture perfect that we have. So I think the moral of the story for me is that we need to have substance. I think that
we need to stop idolizing the
church. Yes.
We need to not make
the constitution of marriage.
We need to stop making men or women the focus of our satisfaction.
True.
Or the source of our joy. True. A man cannot be the source of your joy. A woman cannot be the source of your joy. Marriage cannot be the source of your joy. Wealth cannot be the source of your joy. No, riches cannot be the source of your joy. The source of your joy can only be God. Get attached to Him and Him only.
True.
It's actually simpler. I don't know why we're not even adopting that. Because it's much simpler to understand that the source of your joy is God and get attached to God than to human being, because we're very feeble. You know, even if somebody thinks that I am the source of their joy, I change all the time. There's so many things I don't know as well. But God knows everything. He's everything. So why we focus on each other or something or
you fall in love.
I think I can even give an answer to that. I can give an answer to that because how do you what's your picture of God, and how can God give you joy? Because it sounds very good to say, oh, God should be my source of joy, but how? I know how you can give me joy. Let's say I like KFC chicken and I get happy eating KFC chicken. You know how to give me joy. Although it might be short-lived, or they might not be, you're not my source of joy, but you can give me joy. And I know how to ask you, and you know how to satisfy me. But when it comes to God, how do you conceptualize it? So that is the reason why it's very easy. And it's very subtle for people to idolize each other, because we are physical here, man. God is spiritual. So how do I get joy and satisfaction
from God?
From God. Even let's talk about riches too.
But from God, even from God, people think they can answer that your question. Most people will think that they can answer that your question. How can we get satisfaction from God? And the answer is, we go to church.
Yes.
I dance, praise and worship. I serve in departments. They don't know they have just replaced God
with all of those things.
With religion.
Yeah.
So it's a huge concept. We need light. We need light, we need illumination, because this thing is very deep, and the more we're talking about it, it's making me even question so many things. It's raising questions in my mind about this whole idea of getting satisfaction. Like, for example, Pastor talked about not even making money your source of joy. It's very easy for you to be satisfied and to even get fulfillment from earthly riches, because it's measurable. For example, I set a goal to get to $1 million in 1 year, and I achieved it. That is something that gives me joy, satisfaction. It's very measurable. But with God, how do I get it? And how do I feel like I'm satisfied with Him? Because all that we have learned, all what we have known this year, all these years, has been religion. And that's why this topic on knowing and understanding God through love I mean, it's a very, very deep topic. Very deep.
From all the things I'm hearing, it's like my mind is really working over time in terms of how do we kind of not fall victim to this. Well, that's my own main thing, is not to fall victim to this. Is that not to look to gain satisfaction from others. Or
we can, but not overly.
But it's hard to balance, to have a balance. And I don't know how we can strike that balance.
It's better to say God should be your main satisfaction. God should be your main satisfaction. All other ones are just joy. All other things give you joy, but God gives you satisfaction. You don't get it.
And even with that...
Yeah, but how can I quantify that? If I say God gives me satisfaction, it's...
Okay. Well, maybe Peace wants to say something
Okay, first. I want to use my own personal life to what we are saying here. When I was a child growing up, I saw the way my parents were, they lived. My father loved my mother very much, and I begin to, have it at the back of my mind that the kind of man I'm going to marry, the kind of home, the kind of family I will have, and in fact, all my life I was like having that kind of picture. The thing took all over me that this is the kind of man I'm going to marry. This is,
my family.
Yeah, my family, and the thing just, took over me, and
that's what we talk about idolizing.
Yeah, and I was not talking about God. Let your will be done. What you have for me, let it be done. I was not saying that, because I now came to realize that God can give me somebody that I will save, that will not be like my own parents, the way they were. So, but this is what I want. I want that, and I want
ideal.
So when I got married, my own husband is from a polygamous home that, in the family, in fact, a lot of hate. In fact, it was the opposite. It was the opposite. And when I came, initially when we were courting, it was because courtship and marriage is totally different. I didn't see it. So when we got married, the whole thing was the opposite. My marriage nearly crashed until I now sat down and began to say, even when I took to counsel with pastor, it was the pastor was saying, it's like you're backsliding. Nobody was able to tell me the real truth about the matter. Nobody was able to counsel me well, because when you begin to ask, what is the matter? There is no quarrel at home, but my expectation, my ideas
did not match up with reality.
Was not what I am saying.
True.
So nobody was able to counsel me, to bring me to reality. God just virtually stepped into my marriage, because I sat down and I began to think. I said, we are of two different parents. His way of being brought up and my own was different. And I began to say, okay, if God wants me to bring this man to light, to have that kind of home, okay, I leave it. And those things that was happening, that was, getting me crazy, I begin to leave it for God. I begin to relax. Even when I get angry, I say, no. This person is from a different background. I cannot force him. I cannot put all expectation on him. So I begin to, cut my idea of what I was expecting, that idea gradually begin to die down. And when that idea begin to die down, I begin to see peace in the home. I begin to see nature. I begin to see that whatever, whoever, how you are made, that is God that made you like that, and it's for a purpose. So not putting pressure, like some parents, they bring their child and they are already having an idea. This child is going to be a man of God. This one is going to be a doctor. And at the end of the day, when the child now begin to go like the child begin to be a musician, their whole world begin to crash.
True.
They begin to hate the child, because of the expectation, the ideas they had before now. So it's not good to begin to idolize something. It's good to love, but when love begins to turn to an idol, God hates it. And he eventually turn you against it. It becomes the opposite because you have idolized that thing. God wants us to make him the focus of our life. When you begin to focus on your idea, your expectation, God turns it and it becomes the opposite.
Wow. Brilliant. Amazing.
Okay.
Amazing.
But you were saying your conclusion was that we don't need satisfaction, right?
Well,
or what did you say?
Not to seek satisfaction from other people. That is what my conclusion is. That to rather be the one to serve, like want to give, not seek something back from them. Maybe that would help. Not to direct something, like focus on them being something for us, and also even our love or our reaction. That's what my conclusion would be, because if I can't just be with that person, like just be with the person, or even just have a child and think, okay, if the child don't love me anymore, I'll just do my bit. Or if the child is not doing what I want, I will still train the child in the right way. Just go by the principle rather by the emotions, and I love this child or I love this man, so whatever happens, that's it. I'm just going to go everywhere with him. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to love him regardless.
That's idolizing.
Yes, it's idolizing. But when you think, okay, I'm going to love him, but if he's not doing the right thing, I'm also going to think and think, okay, well, maybe it's time to let go and take the pain of him not feeling the same way. Or if this child is not the way that I want, the things that I'm seeking for, let it be. Share my thoughts and just let it be. I think even with friends as well, you get to when everything is going well, your friends, everything, you're agreeing with each other on everything that you do, and as soon as maybe you don't agree or you're seeing things in a different way, you start to kind of focus, okay, maybe I can do more for this person to see it in my way. Maybe I can be more nicer, I can be this, you're giving too much, and the person will still reject you, and then you're crazy. It turns into hate. Is it that you hate the person? So it's just ability to let go, because even in the story that you just told as well, with your relationship, you had to okay, maybe this is the way this person is, maybe this is how things is with this person. Let me just leave it and let me see what God has.
Okay, I'm going to come from a slightly different angle. It's right, exactly the same thing I'm going to say. But the way I'm going to put it is this. You need to, how do we balance between deriving satisfaction and joy from my son, from my wife, from my work, from my business, from my money? How do I derive satisfaction without idolizing it? First of all, you have to know that God, you have to settle first of all in your heart of heart, that God is my only source of satisfaction. I will have children, but they are my blessings, but they are not my source of satisfaction. I will have riches, but they are my blessings. They will never be my source of satisfaction. They are secondary. I will have wife, She's my blessing, but she's never going to be my satisfaction. I'm going to have a vision and achievements and results. They will be just my blessings, but never my source of satisfaction. So what that looks like is this. You have your life, you are hooked onto God, but you also bought a car. You like your car. Your car does give you satisfaction. But you know you buy another car in 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years. Or you had a dog, you know that dog will die. Or you had a cloth, you liked it, it was nice, but you know you would give it out sometime or exchange it. They are not your soul. You don't get attached to them. The thing here is attachment. What do we get ourselves attached to? So we are all supposed to be hooked on to God, attached to God, but own things. That if I own it, I can put it down. If I own possess it, I can put it down. If I own it, I can put it down. But I'm not attached to it. If I'm attached to it, I cannot willingly lay it down. If I'm attached to it, I cannot willingly let it go. Because if I'm attached to it, it controls me.
Yeah.
When I'm attached to it, to try to put it down is to hurt myself. So if anything is hurting you to let go, it means that you are attached to it. So what we need to do is to be attached only to one person, to God.
Yeah.
But other things, we own them and we can easily let it go. I don't know if you people are getting it.
Yeah, get it.
So a lot of people in Africa, look at all those testimonies we're hearing. Children. Why? Because the culture had conditioned them. They are even attached to those children before they were even married. Even when they are still young girls.
Yeah.
When they are still in primary school, they are already attached to the children at a number. That's why a lot of children in African families will end up either hating their parents, or their parents hating them, or they will not be successful. Those children will not give them that thing they were dreaming. So a lot of parents die without seeing the fruit of their labor. Because that is what they are living for. They have idolized that. They have killed that fruit of labor before even they take. So everybody will just be struggling.
The more I listen to you, I mean, this is a concept. I mean, this is just life. This is life that you're explaining to us.
Life 101.
Yeah, this is life. This is life, and I mean, these are things that if these things are taught, I don't know how to express myself, but this is just life. Like, you're just demystifying the whole idea of life. I mean, that's what I just have to say about it. You know what I mean? Life is making more sense.
Exactly.
Life is making more sense. That's just what I can say, man. I'm blown away.
Wow. And this is where the ignorant that don't know what this is would say is generational curses.
Oh, deliverance.
Yes.
Find different reasons.
And you need deliverance. You did this. Your children did not do so well. So all your children are not doing well, and you clearly love them, you pray for them.
Or your sister, or before they say, they could say, okay, we have 5 sisters, none of them married. Because they are idolized the institution of marriage. Oh, we had 3 sisters, none of them gave birth. Well, because they had idolized children. Oh, we had everybody divorced. Well, because they had idolized, marriage, harmony, marriage relationship. So then they will be running from everywhere, not change themselves. So they don't change.
No.
Instead of them changing and changing their heart desire, changing their attachment, they are running for deliverance so that somebody will just cast something out without changing. They will go through deliverance, but they will not change. And that's why only after they wait for like 10, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, when they've given up, then
the miracle happens. God is smart. God is amazing. Like, I'm just excited to just hear, because these are stuff that that seem, mystical and seem, we could not even lay hands upon it because
it's demystified.
Yeah, because like a family, they married for 10 years and they're like no issue, and maybe after some time even when they're giving the testimony, they're like, we just gave up and we're like nothing can happen, and then God surprised us.
Yeah,
and like,
that's why when they go to ages where people said it's already impossible, that's why you have a lot of report of people in old age.
Yeah,
because that's the place where they've given up. They stop idolizing.
Yeah, they just leave it. They just, I can't get this child, so I can't get satisfied with the child, so let's just go. And then I'm excited.
Wow. Anybody wants to comment?
Yeah, I now get the whole picture of this Your Love series. It makes life, I look at life in a different perspective. Since I started hearing this love series that DSC have been teaching, because like in churches you don't get to hear this. You go to university, you don't get to hear this.
No.
So like I would advise that a lot of pastors in Nigeria should begin to change their ideas and their pattern of teaching. Because this one, I understand virtually why DSA was saying love is the greatest. Because when you begin to, love somebody, God is love. And when you begin to, attach your love so much on something, you are bringing God down. You are bringing God down.
Beautiful.
So when, in fact, I even feel that when you begin to have love, your faith will begin to be active. That's my feeling, that when you begin to have this love, your faith will begin to be active.
Yeah, because faith walks through love.
But when you are not walking in love, in fact, your faith is just a mouth faith. You're just speaking. When you have love, you have that faith. Because like when you love something and you begin to have this idea and God is saying, no, you don't do it that way. I will not give you because you value that thing more than me. And you begin to put your faith, you begin to speak it.
You are speaking to idol. That faith is not more faith. That's idol.
So it doesn't work. And when it doesn't work, you begin to question God. I've been serving you for so years, and look, this is not happening. Not knowing that actually you have idolized those things. And because you have idolized those things, God don't love it. He will not give it to you. It's not because you are not serving him enough, but you have made something your idol. You have placed him above. You have placed that thing above instead of placing God. We should learn how to place God above our expectation. Place God above our children, above our families. Don't place your children above God, because the reality of life will virtually set in. And those your expectations, because you have placed them above God, it will be the opposite.
True.
So I really thank God that I am on this platform. Life make a lot of sense now. Not like when I was hearing faith, and you begin to, at the end of the day, when you don't have it, you begin to think it's a causes from one man in the village, which is not even capable of doing that.
Of course, he doesn't even know that you are accusing him of it.
He's not even capable. So when all these things, this principle of life was not applied, when you begin to apply this principle of life, and you face the reality and you apply this principle of life, you now use making an object, not your idol anymore, and God steps in. You begin to say, the evil man is being defeated. He's being this, he's being that.
The God of our Jew.
The prayers have the answer.
Yes, not knowing that it's just even a natural principle of God.
Yeah.
So life now make a lot of sense. I so much love this love series. Since this series started, I look at life in another dimension.
True.
A lot of things that have happened in my life that I couldn't understand.
Can you imagine how many people in Nigeria like that?
Yeah.
Plenty.
Yeah. So I begin to understand life more better. I understand life more better since I start to watch this love series.
Okay, let's continue. You guys come around. Come out of my pulpit. Come out of my pulpit. Let me take my pulpit back. Let me take back my pulpit. But I go still they call you back. I will still call you people back. I will still call one of you back or two. Any one of you want to comment, if you still come back. But me, let me continue my message. Let me collect my pulpit back. I think they are comfortable on my pulpit here. So 1 John 4:20 says, if someone says, I love God and hates his brother, he is a liar. For he who does not love his brother, whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? When we love people too much, that is the aspect we are talking about today. This is what makes love to turn to hate. So love turns to hate when we cross the line. When we love people too much, we eventually hate them. I'm sorry. Because we make them become our source. Our source and the source of our support. We replace God with those we irrationally love. When we irrationally love people, we displace God. We replace God, we unseat God, and put those people in their place. I don't know if you are getting it.
Yeah.
When you love somebody too much, you are dethroning God from your heart, from your life, and setting those people there. Nobody can stand in the place of God because they cannot, they cannot bear the burden and the pressure. That burden demand kills them. God is unlimited, it's infinite. So the demand, your demand doesn't even affect him at all. But on people, it crushes them. We elevate people to the place of God when we love them too much. Making them crumble from that height. We elevate them too much. Like the tower, Tower of Babel. Anything you elevate too much, that will crush. So that initial love that you had for them eventually becomes hate or indifference. That's the reason. Especially when they do something we don't expect from them. Yet, God will make them go wrong. God himself will make those people to do things that are wrong. God will say we intentionally make them go wrong to set you free from dependency of man. So Matthew 5:16 says, let your light so shine before not this one. Do not think that I came to bring peace on earth. Like I've explained this many times. I did not come to bring peace, but the sword. The sword is to detach and to deliver you from this kind of situation. For I have come to set man against his father, a daughter against her mother, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law, and a man's enemy will be those of his own household. You see, sometimes we think those things are bad. So this, can you now understand why conflict in the family or conflict between husband and wife is a blessing or not.
Yeah, it is.
You understand now?
Yeah.
Okay, now can you now understand also why there will never be an ideal family? So when those pastors come up and tell you that we have ideal family, we never have any disagreement, never gets wrong, you know it's a lie. God himself will not allow for it. Because that is the balance. It's just like the heart. If you are in the hospital, when there's the measurement of the heart, when everything is balanced, when everything is just straight line, that is not good though. When I used to go to the hospital and I used to see those lines come, I say, problem, oh, it's supposed to be straight now. But it was later that I discovered that when the line is straight, that is when Arada is in trouble. But when it's going zigzag like that, that is the real life. That is how life is supposed to function. In zigzags like that. But we want it to just be full, smooth, straight line, peace, everything perfect. There is a situation like this that we are reading now. 2 Samuel 13, verse 2 and verse 15. Amnon, all of you should know this story. Amnon was so distressed over his sister Tamar that he became sick, for she was a virgin, and it was improper for Amnon to do anything to her. Then Amnon then he did, he slept with these are two, they are from different mothers, but they are from the same father. He slept with his sister, and then after, he said he couldn't leave before. He was sick because he loved her so much. He couldn't even eat. He loved her so much. But after he slept with her, he hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, arise. No, anyway, he chased her away after that. So I want us to see another video here. I want us to see other videos that will help us to illustrate what we are saying. And I think we got the point. I think the point came across, but these other videos will really help us to have an idea of what we are saying. Unfortunately, the kind of churches that we have in Africa is rather encouraging this kind of idolatry. Children, wife, husband, family, success, money. Anyway, let's have a look at this testimony.
I remember my stepfather, would beat me, and he would beat me with extension cords and hangers and pieces of wood and all kinds of stuff. And after every beating, he would tell me, it hurt me more than it hurt you. And I only did it because I love you. It was kind of, it communicated the wrong message to me about what love was. So for many years, I thought that love was supposed to hurt. And I hurt everyone that I love. And I measured love by how much pain someone would take from me. And it wasn't until I came to prison in an environment that is devoid of love that I began to have some sort of understanding about what it actually was and was not. And I met someone, and she gave me my first real insight into what love was, because she saw past my conditions and the fact that I was in prison with a life sentence for murder, and not only for murder, but for doing the worst kind of murder that a man can do, murdering a woman and a child. And it was Agnes, the mother and grandmother of Patricia and Chris, the woman and child that I murdered, who gave me my best lesson about love, because by all rights she should hate me. but she didn't. And over the course of time and through the journey that we took, that's been pretty amazing. She gave me love, and she taught me what it was.
What makes us human? Love. I will have to watch this thing again. I really want you to get another information to rock at it, doing it. No, to post back on it. These things are, this is a very, very, very powerful story. And I don't think you people got it. Let's watch it again. Can we watch it again, please? Let's watch it again. You people have got to watch this thing again. Okay? Bullshit. Here we go.
I remember my stepfather, would beat me, and he would beat me with extension cords and hangers and, pieces of wood and all kinds of stuff. And, after every beating, he would tell me, it hurt me more than it hurt you. And, I only did it because I love you. It was kind of, it communicated the wrong message to me about what love was. So for many years, I thought that love was supposed to hurt.
Stop. Wow. What comes to my mind is the story of somebody who died and went to heaven. A pastor. He had a clinical death and went to heaven. And when he was leaving, he met Jesus. And Jesus told him, go and tell your story of you meeting with me. And tell them that I want everybody to come to heaven. I didn't create hell for human beings. I created heaven for them. I want everybody to come here. So the man just said, what do you mean everybody? Because Jesus was emphasizing everybody. He said, you mean the rapist also? You mean the rapist and pedophile? First of all, he was saying, you mean the gay? We want the gay people to come here? I can't understand that. Okay, forget about the gay. What about the pedophiles? People who are raping children, who are raping women, who rape boys, who rape girls, who kill them. You want them to come here? He was a pastor on earth. Somebody who is supposed to be helping people to get to know God. But he was the one that was more irritated at what Jesus was saying. And Jesus said, yes, I want everybody to come. He said, what? To heaven? Rapists? Pedophiles? Gays? Lesbians? He said, yes. And Jesus told him, wait, you yourself, you think you qualify to be here? You think you qualify to come to heaven? You think you qualify to come to heaven? Why are you surprised? Why are you saying that I shouldn't allow? It is my heaven, it's not your own heaven. No, it's not you created this heaven, I created it. I am now telling you that go tell people that I want everybody to come to heaven, and you are now fighting me that I shouldn't allow some people to my own heaven. You yourself, are you qualified to be here? Why should you think you qualify to be here? Then he was saying, well, I'm sorry, Father, Jesus, but, what about the pedophiles? The pedophiles, I'm talking about those who rape as if he's explaining to Jesus. I'm talking about those who rape 5-year-olds and kill them and tear them to death. So Jesus said, you think they are not qualified to be here? He said, well, that's what I wouldn't have allowed them to come here. Then Jesus said, none of you is qualified to be here, number one. Number two, come. That pedophile that you are talking about, pointing, accusing finger at, that is not qualified to be here. First of all, before me and before God, none of you is qualified. You are all the same. Sin is sin. Secondly, you don't know the background, the history, or whatsoever led that guy to become that pedophile. You don't even know that pedophile that you are talking, that you are hating, that gay that you are hating, that lesbian that you hate, those people that you are pointing a fingers to, you don't know, maybe they are even victims. They themselves might be victims. You don't know what is behind what they did. Then they are saying, then the man said, but what about these little children he raped? What about the little children he killed? Then God said, I handle that. That's my problem. That's why I had to die for everybody. For you who is a pastor, for the pedophile, and for the gay, for everybody. I died for everybody. I already paid the price for every one of them. Now, let's look at what this guy is saying. This guy said, when he was growing up, his own understanding of love was connected to pain. And it brings something to my mind, that most of our African people also have been damaged like this man. We have been distorted in our mind. Most Africans have been distorted. I tell you this one. Most Africans have been damaged in terms of love. Most Africans also, just like this child, just like this man, also think like him. Because what has happened to him is that, because the stepfather used to beat him with the extension cord, trees, and things like that, and then tell him that is love. So in his mind, it was recorded in his mind that love is connected to pain. Just like with some other people, there are other people in Europe here where it is the opposite. Love is not connected to pain, but there must be balance. Love could be connected to pain and also without pain. But most people, love is connected only to pleasure. That is also wrong. That could be another extreme. But this is another extreme where we don't normally come across, where love is connected to pain. So the expression of love that was recorded in this man's mind now is torture and pain. So for him now to see, so as a young man growing up, he see that whenever my father loved me, he will beat me. So that has become his own expression of love. And that is what has given birth to what do you call it? Masochist? No, sadist. Is that giving back to sadist and sado?
Sadist и masochist.
Sadomasochist. Masochist. Wow. Sadomasochist. So who are these people? Sadomasochist people. Sadomasochist people are people who get pleasure by inflicting pain. There was a woman that came to our church that told me such horrible stories that I never knew these things exist. This woman was so despised by her husband. She had 2 children, but she was so despised. She's fat, big, and she doesn't think anybody can love her. So, but then she fell into the hand of a man that will give her everything love. But then they are successful men, so they are politicians. But then they rent an apartment in town where they find women that just want love at any cost. And what they do is that they would undress her, beat her, put bottle of champagne in her private part, to take their hand like this inside, in her private part, do all kind of things to her. Sadist people. They getting pleasure only when she's crying and she's dying like that, then they release. Some other ones, they make you to beat them. Some other ones, they get prostitutes and make them to eat their feces or to urinate into them. Why? Because they were being damaged in their brain, in their something while they are growing up, and they have not been able to confess and to tell people what has happened, because these things are so secret. This is a high secret, and it takes very mature people to listen to them. But they could be delivered though. But because they keep these things in them, they don't share with anybody, and it's like it's top secret, and they keep on living through life like that. So this is what this guy was doing, because he was beaten so hard, and they were telling him that beating, that pain is love. So his own expression of love is that he started raping women, and not just raping them, but inflicting pain on them. And that is how it gets started. And he's proving to her that she loves them. So, not just women, boys, friends, inflicting pain and telling them that is love. And killing. So that's how he killed a woman and the child, raped them, he killed them. And then the mother of that woman that was killed, which is the grandmother of the granddaughter, was the one that his own relatives have rejected him. His own family has rejected him. They don't go to see him in prison. You know what's going to see him in prison? The mother of the woman, who is the grandmother of this child, that now was going because she was a believer. He killed her daughter, killed her granddaughter, but she was the one who went to express real love to this man. Let's hear his story further.
And I hurt everyone that I love. And I measured love by how much pain someone would take from me. And it wasn't until I came to prison in an environment that is devoid of love that I began to have some sort of understanding about what it actually was and was not. And I met someone, and she gave me my first real insight into what love was, because she saw past my conditions and the fact that I was in prison with a life sentence for murder, and not only for murder, but for doing the worst kind of murder that a man can do, murdering a woman and a child. And it was Agnes, the mother and grandmother of Patricia and Chris, the woman and child that I murdered, who gave me my best lesson about love, because by all rights she should hate me. But she didn't. And over the course of time, and through the journey that we took, that's been pretty amazing. She gave me love, and taught me what it was.
Do you now understand why this message is so much needed in Africa? Only love overcomes hatred. What power could have changed someone like this, who was hurting everybody, who believed that he was loving when he was hurting, who was raping, killing people everywhere? What power could have stopped that kind of adversity, that kind of hatred, that kind? Only real, genuine love. Real, genuine love. This is what the church in Africa lacks and they don't teach. What power can change the herdsmen? What power can change the terrorists? What power can change the Muslims? What power can change people that are hurting with hatred? Only real and genuine love. The love that is Christ's understanding of love. Not human understanding of love. I don't know if any one of you would like to comment on this one. Then I would still like us to show another one when love turns to hatred and children are killing their parents. Right.
You know, I've listened to several Muslims, and one of the things that Muslims cannot understand about the words of Jesus is when Jesus says, love your enemies. And I've watched a lot of research and a lot of interviews, and just the idea that Jesus is saying, love your enemies, they can't fathom it. And the more we dive and the more I understand the depth of this topic, I can see the wisdom in God.
In Jesus, in God saying, only love can overcome hate now. Even me, how I was attacked because of this S-Man thing. Or because of Buhari thing. People leave the platform. People go into start program against me. But just because they are the ones who don't understand what I understand though. It's not because I'm foolish. They come and say he's foolish. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You know, I'm not so foolish. It's not because of foolishness. It's just because I understand something that they don't understand.
And that's just, I mean, you know, Jesus is saying, pray for those who persecute you, bless them that curse you. I mean, all of those words are like, what do you mean? I mean, it doesn't make sense with just superficial understanding. But
for me, it makes a lot of sense. It's the only thing that makes sense.
But now it's making sense that there is no greater force on earth
than the force of love.
There is no greater power on earth than the power of love. Love conquers all, and it's in the scripture. It says love conquers everything. There is nothing that love
overcome evil with good.
It's good.
Okay, let's have a look at another one whereby love turns to hatred. When you love children too much, if you don't kill them, they kill you. And the reason why that, either you kill them or they kill you because of too much love. And I would like to get your explanation. Why is it that too much love kills the object of love or the person who is loving? Let's have a look at it.
Aren't children supposed to be blameless and pure, without hatred, evil anger, or desires to kill? Yet, every so often, many commit horrific crimes that leave even the adults totally stunned. Today, we take a look at 10 evil children that killed their own parents. Number 10. Alex and Derek, age 12 and 13. Every kid dreads a strict father. That feeling of not having your own way, not having to play your favorite video games, or go to Disneyland with the other kids as often as you'd like. That fear of being spanked for the tiniest mistake. We've all been there, and the thought of running away from home was normal. What wasn't normal, however, was the fact that Alex and Derek got fed up with their strict dad, Terry, and took the law into their own hands to end his life once and for all. Derek waited until his father fell asleep and then bashed him 10 times on the head and face with an aluminum baseball bat. The boys then set fire to the house to try to conceal the crime. Number 9. Edmund Kemper, age 15. Grandmothers are the best things that can happen to anyone. Sometimes it makes all the sense in the world to leave the strictness of our biological parents and just take a trip to see them. Last time I checked, every kid looked forward to visiting their grannies. Well, not for Edmund. He was 15 when he shot his grandparents. Both of them. Whatever his reasons were, it was reported that he was indifferent after the evil act. It was later suggested to be a paranoid psychotic moment, and he was sent to Atascadero State Hospital for treatment. Number 8. Brian and David, aged 16 and 17. Brian Freeman, 17, and David, 16, shaved and tattooed their heads as a symbol of their neo-Nazi beliefs. They became immediate suspects when their parents and younger brother were found beaten to death in their Salisbury Township, Pennsylvania home. As the police told it, the triple murder was every parent's worst nightmare. Number 7. Marcello Pesagini, age 13. Marcello was a die-hard hitman fan, and in trying to become Agent 47, he chose to not just kill his police officer parents, but also his grandmother and great-aunt. It was reported that Marcello shot each victim in the head with a .40 caliber pistol. However, I guess he just couldn't live with the Agent 47 code, as the teenager was soon found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the temple. Number 6. Seth Pravacki, age 18. It was meant to be a great day for the Pravacki family, as they were getting together for a belated Thanksgiving dinner. While Seth's brother, Jed Pravacki, 19, was enjoying a movie, 18-year-old Seth grabbed their dad's .22 caliber Ruger and shot him. Whatever his reasons were, it didn't end there. When his dad and grandfather came in, he grabbed the gun and shot them too. His mom, who was in the bedroom while all of this happened, got out only to be shot as well, including Jed's girlfriend, who happened to be there as well. You may want to know Seth killed his father for threatening to kick him out of the house, and decided to murder the rest of the family for not standing up for him. Number 5. Jasmine Richardson, age 12. Jasmine was a 12-year-old girl in love with a 23-year-old, Jeremy Steinke. Because of the age difference, her parents highly disapproved of their relationship, but that didn't go well with Jasmine, not to mention her kind of pervy and pedophiliac boyfriend. After watching the movie Natural Born Killers, which features a young couple murdering their girl's parents before running away together on a killing spree, Jeremy convinced Jasmine, and that was exactly what they did. Number 4. William James Brestahan Jr., age 16. Everyone wants to go on a camping trip, you know? The adventure, the fun, the excitement it brings, but not for William. He got into a heated argument with his mom while on the camping trip, and ended up stabbing her to death. Like a slightly grieved and guilty kid, William went to his dad to tell him what he did, only to bludgeon him to death as well. William is now practicing as a medical doctor. It was reported that after incarceration, he pledged to make a sincere turnaround, which he actually did. Number 3. Christopher Porco, age 21. The rich life is what everyone wants, but for then 21-year-old Rochester University student Christopher, it was totally different. He likes to put up the facade of a lavish lifestyle to his fellow students, and as a result, found himself in serious debt after forging his father's signature to obtain loans and lines of credit. It was reported that Christopher murdered his father when they tried to confront him on the matter. Number 2. Daniel Bartlam, age 14. Daniel was just 9 when his parents split. His mom, Jackie, left his father, and that affected his school and environment. When Daniel was 12, he became one of those wimpy kids who, as her mom's ex-partner recounted, would defecate all over the bedroom in boxes. But Jackie laughed about it. I found out he had a bag of her underwear. It was brushed over at the time, but it later appeared more sinister. He became reclusive, posting violent clips from his favorite soaps online, watching horror films, and penning grisly stories. Not until that fateful Easter Sunday in 2011, when he sneaked up on her and hit her 7 times on the head with a claw hammer. Daniel afterwards covered her bloody body with paper, dumped it in gasoline, and set fire to it, hoping to destroy the evidence. Number 1. David Braun. If someone told you a straight-A student is capable of homicide, would you believe it? Well, David was that straight-A student who murdered his family for the most ridiculous reason. Something as simple as an argument with his father over a punk rock music tape he had bought. I guess David wanted to show his dad just who the punk really was.
Well, let's go back to the note. Horrific things happening Remember where we started? Why love turns to hate. Remember, all problems in the world is a love problem. Either loving yourself too much, or not loving others as yourself, or loving others too much. A misdirected love and all that. So a misdirected love, loving the wrong things, loving self too much, and loving other things instead of loving God and people, leads to all problems. So why love turns to hate? Wrong understanding of love. I think it's about time for me to, I think I made my point. I think it's about time for me to let the calls come in. So if you want to contribute, anybody that wants to contribute, the way to contribute is go to Facebook Messenger, Move Agents, Facebook Messenger, Move Agents. Go to Facebook Messenger, Move Agents, and Move Agents. Let's show one of the new books that will really go for this topic we are talking about. Because people have been saying, do we have books? You remember I told you about the book that Pastor Ayo wrote, but there is another one that I wrote, and we just got it into English. Hello? It's called The Kingdom of Love. The Kingdom of Love. It's the newest book. It just came out today on Amazon. So go get it. The Kingdom of Love. Hello, is that Adeshola?
Yes, this is Adeshola. How are you doing, sir?
A gruesome topic today, right?
Very, very deep topic, sir. Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I can say this over and over again.
Wow.
I know what I'm talking about. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much.
Wow.
This is so deep. This scripture came to my mind, I think it's in John, when Jesus Christ was saying that he did not commit himself to any man.
Wow,
because he knows what is in the heart of man.
Beautiful.
This was just coming to my heart. You know, at times we do things in life and we don't realize the consequence of what we are doing. And we don't think deep enough on the things that we do, and we think we still love God. But going back now and looking at what you are teaching us, I'm not an exception in this matter. I have to be sincere to you, DSA. And I don't know of anybody on this platform, because nobody can say that everybody is perfect. There is no perfect relationship. There is no perfect life. I have to say it that way. We are all working towards perfection. You know, I love the illustration you were giving concerning the heart rate. You know, when you see the heart going up and down, then you can say, yes, that is a functional heart. If it stays straight, that means you are heading towards your death. You know, so that brings my mind that when everything is going so smoothly, you have to bring yourself back. No. Things doesn't go like that. Things can never go like that. There have to be challenges. There have to be trials. You know, and that is where the love of God comes in. You know, when we are soaked in His love. And I love another illustration. That is why I love DSA so much. You are so good at illustration and analysis.
Hello.
When you were giving, hello.
Yeah, we're hearing you.
Okay. You were giving an illustration once again concerning the attachment and the detachment. You know, Jesus Christ has come to bring the sword, you know, and that is a separation. When you hold a pencil, you can still leave the pencil, but the pencil is not attached to you, you know, and the only thing that we can attach ourselves to is God. You can love somebody, and the statement you are making for the benefit of every one of us listening here, DSA is still stressing on love. But the problem is too much love, which become an idol. You are idolizing a thing above God. and that causes a lot of distraction. It takes the covering of God away from your life or from the person or whatsoever. It could be your job, it could be anything, So I just look at today's teaching as a reminder of what is expected of us as a child of God, that our total focus, our total allegiance should be to the Lord. And nobody can ever be our source of joy. Nobody can ever be our source of, how will I call it, satisfaction. The only satisfaction we get, though things that we have around us could be blessing, but that should not satisfy us. The only satisfaction we have is in God. And at times we say some things, we do some things, we don't really know why we are doing them. But because our focus is not completely on God, and that is why we are easily distracted. When things now happen, it throws us off balance, And this teaching is like a constant reminder. Personally, to me, this is something I have to remind myself in every day. It could be any other thing. It could be your job. It could be your business. It could be anything. That our love should be for God, should be the ultimate. And looking at the video you showed concerning that guy, that was a very deep thing. For somebody to know what is love at the end of, going through such pain in life and thinking that the pain that is given to somebody is love, because that was what he was exposed to. And that is why I'm very, very cautious here. And the last 10 clips that you just showed now, when people were killing their parents, killing their siblings, I want to see that as another thing, to a kind of exposure as a mother, as parents. Whatever we expose our children to, all in the name of, I love them, because of all in the name of trying to satisfy them, trying to meet up with their needs. You expose them to all kinds of things. And it is that thing that will now turn back like a boomerang upon you, and that is where it calls for cautiousness. And our love for them shouldn't be the ultimate. The love should be on God. Teaching, the Bible says, train up a child in the way that it should go. When it goes, it will not depart from it. So there is a training you give to a child. You don't just give them a love that will make them look as if they are your all in all, or they are everything. So you have to teach them the love, that they love God first above all things. Though you train them, you love them, but they shouldn't be an object of an idol before God. So DSA, I just thank you so much for this teaching, because personally to me, it's like a food for thought. I just have to put it that way, a food for thought, that I have to go back and listen to it, that whatsoever that you have put as an idol, that you are idolizing, should not take a place of God in your heart. Thank you so much for this teaching, and I pray the Lord will continue to give you more wisdom and more insight in Jesus' name. Thank you so much.
Adeshola, your talk call today, you're so powerful. The sincerity brought so much power. It's unbelievable.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Wow. She is so broken. She is such a broken vessel. I think God is really doing something in that lady's life. God is doing something. I think, thank God that we are doing this love series. So maybe it will deliver a lot of people in Africa. I mean, see that black guy in the prison. Because in Africa too, a lot of families, they connect, they connect love with pain. Pain. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, can you speak louder, please?
Okay, sir. Good evening, this is Paul.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. I want to say thank you, sir, again. I guess this is one of those topics that I guess a lot of us are not prepared for. it's one of those ones that caught me unawares. I used to think I know some things, but this is one of those topics that actually proved my ignorance. And I'm just beginning to examine myself, and coming to, if somebody like me is lacking so much, and then how much more of our people, I'm always having that feeling about the Nigerian church, the Nigerian society, because I have come to the level where I look at individual success is no longer enough. Yeah. And I think God has helped you as a person to have come to the realization of that, because you've been successful in your life, in your career, your ministry and marriage. And then, it's possible for you to not just care and, sell your materials and make a lot of money as you want to. You can actually live in any of the countries of the world that you desire now. But the truth remains that for Nigeria, for Africa, to really become what it ought to be, for it to maximize its potential, I think we need to come to the level of this understanding in millions, so that the effect of it can really be felt. So I want to say thank God for you. I just say you continue to spread this message. I have seen so much about me here that is being revealed, and I will continue to work on it, and I think thank God that I have realized it, and I am willing to pay the price, because it's a lot. It's a lot of message, a lot of information, deep thinking. I've been trying to study the art of thinking for some days now, for about 2-3 days now. I've been studying that and making notes, but this is actually deep. This is very deep. You never get to this. I mean, it's rare for somebody to actually examine this message of love to this level. And this is what is actually evident in all our relationship in the church. And we are born into these things. We are born into believing that, our marriage, for instance, in Nigeria, in Africa, is because of children. So when you get married and children is not forthcoming, it's as if you have failed. I have just gotten to the level where I'm beginning to tell my wife now that it's not just because of all these things. It's not because of this marriage. It's not because, this marriage is not for children. It's not mainly because of children. There are other things that we can spend our life our life on. There is purpose there. And I don't think marriage is limited to just that. Just satisfying ourselves. And the truth is that we are just taking advantage of ourselves when we say we are loving ourselves to that extent. Now you seem to be loved.
Now you they talk. Now you are talking.
Yeah, it may seem to be love on the peripheral as we associate, as we relate, and as we treat ourselves. But in reality, sir, it is actually taking advantage of ourselves.
Now you they talk.
It turns to selfishness, not allowing that person to actually do what he wants to do. Sometimes I think it was in December or January, I told my wife on phone. I told her, I said, she was saying that what gives me joy. I said, when I am spent out there, that's what makes me feel fulfilled now. And she was so surprised that she said you are selfish. I said, well, I'm sorry if it looks as if or sound as if I'm selfish. But the truth now is that the fact that I am being spent for others, people who does not know me, people who will not be able to say thank you to me, that is actually what is making me feel okay. That's what making me feel That's how I derive enjoyment. I don't drink. I don't. You know what gives people joy? It doesn't give me joy, you know. But when I am able to,
because that is real. Because that is real love. What the wife is saying is the opposite. That one is selfish.
That's based on emotion.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is based on emotion. You know, but you know that's what love has been portrayed to us now for so many years. That's what we've been taught. And a lot of people does not have answer to these questions. Like the woman who was making an analysis and making reference to her marriage. This is what maybe close to 80 or 90% of the people who are married right now have experienced. I have been saying for many years that the major reason why some people will not fulfill purpose is marriage. Some people will not make heaven because they are married. You know, it's not just because they don't want to, but because the information are not available, or maybe they cannot sacrifice to get to the level of the knowledge. We always say, oh, knowledge is power, but how many people actually want to sacrifice what it takes to get this power, this knowledge? It is time consuming. You know, you have been doing this all day. You know, in Nigeria, in Yoruba, they say we've been begging the herbalists who will bring the medicine. What about the sick person who would actually need to take the medicine? You know, so you have been spending yourself and making these things available. But you know, when I went to look at the art of thinking, and I look at it, it's about 10 or 12. I was looking at, oh my God. No, and some of them are even 2 hours.
They are 14.
14. So, and I think I'm just in the third or fourth one now. So, but I was telling my wife on phone yesterday that she was saying those videos are too much. I said, yes, it is too much. But the truth is that what we pay on our ignorance is a lot. You know, what we pay on our ignorance, in fact, lives are destroyed, destinies are destroyed because of ignorance. Because we think, oh, this is too expensive, you know, I cannot sit down and be watching. Right now it's about 3 a.m. here now, and I'm still sitting down. This is what I do every day. But somebody might think, this doesn't make sense. But I'm saying, well, and that's why the way I talk now is different from the way I used to talk. There's only few people that can. A lot of people cannot even understand my thinking or my talk self. Yeah, I'm beginning to look like a crazy person to them, and that's the level I want to go.
You are not out of this world.
Yeah, because this is not common, honestly. This is not common. I've been in church all these years, and nobody is talking about things like this. People are just talking about on the facial level. Everybody have been talking about, have been taking issues on the facial level. Only things that are common, that are for babes. Like there is a bishop in Nigeria who has been talking for many years, that have been giving testimonies that since he got married many years ago, maybe 40 or 30 years ago, he has never quarreled, there has never been any argument with his wife. This is a lie now, but it is difficult to say a prophet or a bishop is telling lies. But the truth is that it makes young couples like us feel as if maybe something is wrong with us, or maybe your wife is possessed, or it is your husband that is possessed, or somebody in the village is doing something. But the truth is that it is normal. You know, it is normal for things to be like this. But they didn't tell us. These pastors keep showing us fake picture. They hiding themselves and hiding the truth and portraying something else to the outside world. We were in the Bible school, Sunday school preparation one day, and one of the Sunday school teachers was saying, this so pastor, Bishop Oyedepo, he wrote in his book, or maybe in a testimony or somewhere, I don't know where they got it, that he has never quarreled. He has not even single argument with his wife since he married his wife. And I said, what? How can that be possible when they are not robots? You know, how is it possible for you to put two people from different backgrounds together in the same room and they are living together, having children and doing business and going about all their life, and they said they have never argued, they've never had an argument? I said, well, as much as this is difficult for me to say it's a lie, but the truth is I don't believe in it because I don't think it is humanly possible. And you know, in Nigeria now, anything that an adult says is presumed to be right. When your pastor says something, you don't argue, you just accept that, okay, it is the pastor, it may be God that is speaking to him. And these are the ways that we have learned to suspend our brain. So, right now, by the reason of what I'm studying, I know that most of the things that we do, our attitude, our culture, is learned. These are things that we learn over the years, and then it has become a part of our life, and we form this attitude based on belief, strong belief. I mean, somebody's been preaching and teaching all these kind of messages all these years, and that's why you see the few people that have been listening to this message now. You see that there will be a reawakening. There is something different about everybody that is listening to this thing now. But because it's like there's a strange wind that is coming and it's making things plain again. I'm beginning to see, but I have eyes before. It was as if I've been blind all my life, But I just want to say thank you, sir. God bless you. This is mind blowing. It's critical. It is very deep, and we are loving it. We are consuming it. It's not easy, but we will continue.
Are you sure you are loving it?
So
are you sure you are loving it?
Sir, I am loving it.
Because some people are quitting on me. They are disappearing because of this.
Yes, sir. Definitely that will happen. Even Jesus, some people quit on me.
They say it's a hard saying. It's a hard saying.
Yeah, sincerely, this is done. It is not a child's. It is not a child's food. This is for some people. This message, sir, is actually for people who have been searching for truth. People whom the Holy Spirit Himself has worked on them. So the Holy Spirit has worked on them to an extent. So He has put some question in their heart. And they've been looking for, how do I get answer to this question? They've been asking God for God. So God brought them and bring you, and say, okay, it is time to begin to make this available. Look at Facebook, for instance. Some people in year, I think in 2000 or 2001, 2010 or 2011, in our parish in Lagos, somebody was saying Facebook is from devil, that all these things are evil, that we should. But can you imagine people? We are not thinking. And you know that the person that was even saying that he has a BSc in computer science in Nigeria.
Wow.
So, but look at this, the opportunity that this has provided us. As I am in another continent right now, and I can access you. You understand? This is more than a miracle. All right, and this is just because some people bother to think. They bother to use their brain. They bother to use their mind. As you were talking there was a Bible passage that dropped in my heart. I quickly went to check. Hello, sir.
Yes, we're hearing you now.
Okay, so I went to check the woman that was caught in the act of adultery and was brought to Jesus. Do you know that I didn't even, this passage is something that I've read over and over again, and I've heard people preach about it. But the truth is that Jesus did not even mention the act. Did not even query her about the fact that, okay, after these people who wanted to stone her had gone. He only asked her, did anybody condemn you? He said, no. He said, no, my Lord. And Jesus said, neither do I. Go and sin no more. So Jesus was actually aware that this woman actually was hurt in reality.
Yeah.
And still did not condemn her.
Yeah.
So I just look at myself and say, if it were to be me, I would want to say, okay, woman, I need to straighten your life now. I need to tell you some story now. I need to preach to you now. I need to, all these things. I just felt like, oh my God, what is this religious life that we have been living all this while? And that's why people are just in the church. They are not born again. There's no knowledge. That's why people have been fed. They've been fed lies, because lies is easy. All these messages that they preach to us is easy. It is easy to say amen. Somebody will be preaching and he will tell you it is only for those the people who shout the loudest amen. And people are shouting loud. They are trying to shout loud amen. Imagine, sir, when we go to prayer meetings in those days, sir, do you know what? That when I'm coming back home and I can feel that my throat is broken by the reason of shouting, that's when I'm feeling like, oh, this prayer meeting was serious today. But when it was honestly, the level of foolishness that we had, it amazes me now when I just think about it. The level of foolishness, the level of ignorance, and when they say knowledge is power, then it means ignorance is poverty. Ignorance is zero. And ignorance is all that we have. All these years. Imagine the number of people that are ignorant, that have no access to this message, that are just playing church and playing religion, and oh God, I don't know. It's just painful. It's Kai. Well, I don't know. It's well. Thank you so much, sir.
I'm so happy.
I pray that hello, sir.
Yes, I say I'm so happy that you are not running away, but you are standing.
No, I am not. It is past 3 a.m. now, and I'm still here. And this is how I do every day. And I have class in the morning. I know that it's not going to be easy, but I am sure that I want to be among those who will lead the next generation into the promised land.
Amen.
And since I am enlisting, I know that I need this to prepare, so that I also don't end up spreading foolishness and ignorance and thinking that I am a teacher or that I know something. Yeah, the Bible says that there is no one that has unless he has been given from above.
Yeah.
And so this is a message from above, and it would be foolish of me to not give it time, to not sacrifice. And if I'm not paying now, I'm not paying. I have free internet, and then you have made it available for free. So why not sit down here and listen to it? So, and I believe the same for everybody, I mean, at least it may not be for everybody that's on this platform, but a lot of us that are on this platform, I believe we want to learn. I believe so. Right now, so many things, a few people that I've spoken with on this platform, I know that everybody is battle ready for the world right now. Somebody was talking to me, somebody we met on this platform was talking to me about what his plan is already paying for two kids to go to school in Nigeria, and where he is in the US is already planning to go to the black African American community to begin to do something. Where I am here now, I'm beginning to go out. Yesterday I was in an NGO, in a local NGO, and I was asking them, just to test their ability to think. Since I have been reading about thinking, I've been listening to the message of thinking, but I find out that these people don't think. They don't even know how to think. So I'm beginning to package something as okay. Maybe it's that time I go out there and begin to tell these people the reason why they have brain. You know, we were not taught how we don't know the reason why we have brain, you know. Thank you so much, sir.
But people are taught religion.
Huh?
But everybody is being taught religion now.
Yes, because it is cheap. We think maybe that's what will help us now. It is cheap to be religious, sir. It is. It is cheap to pray. It is easy to pray, but thinking and using our brain and getting the message like this is difficult. It's difficult when somebody do you wrong, you want to pay him back. It is easy to do like that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
All right, sir. Good night.
All right. Wow. This teaching is really shaking people up. Oh. I'm sure we have more callers, but it's a really life-changing teaching. Thank God that people are learning and people are changing and transforming themselves. So let's hear some more callers and let's receive some more calls and see what contribution is coming up. But that is the new book we had, The Kingdom of Love. Go for it. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, who is calling
Good
from where?
evening, DSC. This is Bridget from Sweden.
Yes, how are you, Bridget?
I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're fine with your family too.
Yep, I hope you got the message today.
Yes, it is very powerful, DSA. Very, very powerful. We need so much healing in Africa. Seriously, we need healing. This message has taken me way back to my childhood. Way back to my childhood and all the pain and suffering. I really felt sadness in my heart when I was listening to the man in the video. Receiving beatings, and they tell you that it's because of love. You see, this is wickedness. Wickedness. So I just want to say, God bless you for these messages and the teachings, dear sir. You are a lifesaver. You are a lifesaver. God bless you.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Bridget. Thank you, Bridget. Bye. Yeah, so please, let's also go and get the books. The Love Driven by Ayo, and then the Kingdom of Love, or Driven by Love, I think. Driven by Love by Ayo, and Kingdom of Love by me just came out today. Hello?
Hello, yes.
Our sister, our own sister Angela.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, man.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Yeah, nice to hear you.
Yes, sir. I'm so happy. God will bless you for this series you have been teaching, this love. You are breaking it bit by bit for us to understand love in different dimensions. I have come across, I watched all the videos today, all the teachings. Isaiah prayed, he said when King Uzziah died, he saw the Lord. I think every one of us from tonight should pray. Let every King Uzziah of selfishness, let every King Uzziah of tit for tat, let every King Uzziah of wickedness, let every King Uzziah of retaliation, let every King Uzziah of an eye for an eye die in our lives, so that we can see the Lord, so that we can understand God, so that we can understand God through love. I saw the video of the young man that was set in prison, life imprisonment. It is a touching one that we need to pray. Let every spirit, every King Uzziah that will make us to say, after all, he has done the worst. Why should we show love? And now a soul has been won for the kingdom. There's a rejoicing in heaven over such a soul. And that is what God is interested. That's why he said, don't retaliate. Be good, do good, show love,
You will win them over, no matter what they have done. If Jesus Christ have condemned that adulterous woman, he could not have won her into the kingdom of God. I think every one of us should pray, should ask God to intervene in our life, to practice this you are showing us. It is good. That is what our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ did. He taught the Bible. He was interested in people knowing the truth without collecting money. You are not interested for people to know the truth without paying a dime, without paying couple. That is the work of God. That is really from God. That is why John the Baptist prayed a prayer. He said, let I decrease and let God increase in my life. I think it's a prayer every one of us should pray. Let God increase in our life and let us decrease. Let every one of us decrease. Today, what we hear outside, my children, my husband, my brother, my job, and my brother, my husband and children come 100 times and God come 20 times, which means God is decreasing and our own selfishness is increasing. It is not of God. That's why God said, you can't love two masters at a time. You must always like one more than the other. I think Jesus Christ, God should be loved more than whatever thing we are doing. That's why you will see some families, they will come out and say they have finished training their children. It is time now for them to relax. Before you know it, that woman or that man will die. Before you know it, they will lose those children. Because what they are seeking for, what they are thanking God for, is selfishness. I think this message is what we need, DSA. We need it in Africa. We need it in Nigeria. I need it. Every one of us, everyone around me needs it. God bless you. Continue to keep you. Continue to keep everyone that have believed in this truth and give us the grace to practice this. So that a lot of people, a lot of souls will be won for the kingdom of God. That is what God is interested. That's why he says he's not interested in the death of a sinner. He's interested in making all of us come to repentance so that we will enjoy that heavenly paradise. God bless you, DSA. Bless all our family, all the listeners that are interested in knowing the truth. But you should not bother DSA whether people are living or not. What you should know, truth is bitter. And it's not everyone that agreed to follow Jesus Christ. Many departed. When the word was coming in reality, they left. But at the end of the day, Jesus is lost. At the end of the day, Jesus is God. At the end of the day, Jesus is reigning. So whether they like it or not, the truth must be truth. At the end of the day, many will come to realize. By the time all of us that are listening are practicing this word, this law, I think a lot of people will come to repentance. The next thing is let us start. Let us start to practice it. A lot of people will be won into the kingdom of God. God bless you. Bless the wonderful family God has given to you. He will keep you. You will never regret serving God. At the end of the day, you will achieve what God, the purpose by which God has led this cup into your hand. It is well with all of us, everyone that have believed in truth, in the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you, man. Thank you so very much. Thank you. Strong, powerful. I'm sure we still have some other callers. So let's go ahead. I think this subject of love is what we need to explore. I was just telling you about the fact that Pastor Ayo wrote that book, Driven by Love. And then this one, my own books, this one is the latest one, The Kingdom of Love. But then the law of difference also, the danger of monoculturalism is all about love. Hello?
Hello, blessings, dear sir.
Yes, sir. Who is that?
Hello, sir. This is Ben online, sir. Peace of the Lord unto you, sir.
Wow. It's been a while.
It's busy, sir. How's everyone, sir?
Thank you for getting back to us.
Greetings to Madam. We wish her long life, more goodness of the Lord, more anointing, and God will take her higher in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's my pleasure, sir. Sir, I learned that people are running away. I want to believe they are running away because of something different, not because of this message. Because this message, I have two testimony I will share, and then maybe the remaining people on the platform will understand that this mission, this ministry given to you is of the Lord. The first one was that I had a clinical death in 2003. I was on the hospital bed. I've passed away anyway. So when I wanted to enter the gate, Lord God Almighty sent somebody to come and stop me there. So when I saw the man, I was surprised, because the person I saw at the gate that came to me, I never expected to see him in paradise. Number one, when he was on the surface of the earth. So the thing was this: I said I wanted to come in, and the person said, "You are too young to come here." I said, "I am tired of this world already." I was telling the person, "Let me go in." Even a day-old baby, when they give birth and the person died, it will go back there. I said, "Hey, I was up to 18 years. You are telling me I was too young to be there." So as we were discussing, he asked me, he said, "What do I have in my pocket?" And I was still in Nigeria anyway. I brought out money. So I brought out foreign money, dollars, pound sterling, and everything. And when I saw money, I wanted to give it to him. He told me, he said, "We don't spend money here. Keep your money in your pocket." Wow. So I said, "Why do you want me to go back?" He said, "I have an assignment which has not even started. So I have to go back." I said, "By the way, okay, if I want to go back, how do I go back?" So when I turned, he told me to turn to the left, to the right. I saw where the rich man and the Lazarus and Father Abraham, when the rich man was talking to Father Abraham that he should allow Lazarus to dip his hand in water to put into his mouth, and that because some of his brothers are on the surface of the earth, that God should send somebody to go and talk to them, that where he was, he didn't like it, so that his brother over here can repent. And Father Abraham told him that even they have Moses with them, that if they send somebody that came back from the dead, that they will not change their ways. So that was the story given to me. So when I came back, I was sent back, and I entered the body back on the hospital bed, and I woke up, and that was how God sent me back. And the message God sent me with was that where the rich man and the Lazarus are, they are two different places. Because Father Abraham said there is a God between them, that even if Lazarus wants to help you, he can't find way to come to you because where you are. So heaven and hell, they are real. So I want to start tonight by saying this message of love, sir. The Bible says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? They have laid a very wrong foundation for Christianity in Nigeria, and they are built on it. And now the result is what we are seeing. I think one of the purposes God had to call you into this ministry, because what they are building on is not really the love of God. So 2 Timothy 1:7 made us to understand that love is a spirit. Power is a spirit. That is why it says, "For God has not given us the spirit of fear." But Nigerian churches are using fear. He said, He has given us the spirit of power and of love and of a sound mind. Now, whereby people propagate the spirit of fear, the spirit of love will not operate in that domain. Now, the Lord was teaching us about love according to the book of Matthew 10:37-39. He said, if you want to be my disciple, he said you have to hate even your own self. You hate your father, you hate your mother, you hate your children, you hate everything, and that's the time you can be my disciples. He said, without this, you cannot be my disciple. Then, at any point in time you bring anything before God, it means you are exalting your self life above the spirit life. So many people doesn't understand the way of the Spirit. So what the kind of Christianity they preach in Nigeria is all about self. It's a self-centered Christianity, whereby you go to church, it's all about me. God prosper me, God bless me, God does everything, and they don't understand the concept of love. So if you are preaching this, and it has become a kind of, because they said babies take milk,
yes,
but strong food is for the adult.
That's right.
So don't blame those people that have run away. They are mere babies. So we need to encourage them to be able to take raw meat, solid food, so that they will understand and come to maturity. They are baby Christians. So, and when you look at Nigerian environment, you find out that most of the churches, when you go there and take samples, you find out that 99% of the congregation, they are babies. They don't understand the way of the Lord. It's just like by mercy of God, many people will make heaven. Now, by the mercy of God, God brought me to UK. When I got here, God taught me a lesson since 2008. God released power unto me. When I carry this power, whenever I want to use this power, evil will be happening. So I went back to God. I said, I don't want this kind of power. I cannot love. What is the problem? So somebody, because Apostle Paul said, the good I wanted to do, I do not do it, but the evil I do not intend to do, that's what I end up doing. He said, oh wretched man that I am, who is able to deliver me from this body of death? If we understand what is going on in our system, we are tripartite being. We have the spirit, the soul, and the body. We still carry, we are in the tabernacle of death. Though the spirit of Christ is flowing within us, but the outside man, the outer man, still carry life. The life of outer man is dead. So there is a wrestling between the spirit and the flesh. So people cannot operate in the realm of the spirit of love. That's why you see wickedness that is traveling. People are passing things to people and they say it's a spirit of love. That is not a spirit of love. They have simply exposed you to spirit of hatred, spirit of wickedness, because the love of God, in fact, we can't comprehend it. But so unfortunate that our nation has become that. But there is a way out for Nigeria, and that is why God has decided to put up this ministry. Nobody can kill this ministry, because even most of the people you see on the pulpit in Nigeria, I just laugh at them. Most of them they don't understand the thing again, so they started business. Apostle Suleiman, Igela, all those ones, they are trash. They don't even know God. Because if you have an encounter with God, you will know God. They have not had an encounter, real life encounter with God. They have a mental belief, and they brainwash people around because of their ignorance. They take advantage of them. So the problem now is that as you are planning to go to Nigeria, even me I'm planning, because Nigeria will be on fire, sir. All those ones that it's going to be on fire, because all those people on the pulpit, the Holy Spirit has prepared their days. Their days are coming. They are only wasting. They are only having a mere. In fact, what time? It's an injury time they are using now, because all the children of God they put in bondage must be released, either they like it or not. Now the issue has become by fire, by force. They can, all those Igila, Apostle Memo, or what does he call himself? He's just wasting. He should be listening now. He's only wasting his time, because I've told you before. Even Soul ministry started in my face. When God dealt with him, I started praying for him, and God wiped him away. You can't see his ministry anywhere, as large as that ministry was. So also, many of them, if they don't change their ways, they can listen now. They can go into repentance and change their ways and say, God, we have missed it. We can come back. God is able to accept them back. But if they are going in their own way, then the time will come, and the time is very short now. Sir, I want to commend you for what you are doing, sir, because I have a lot of many scriptures I will have read. But our people should go and study. They should go and seek God themselves. Because I listened to Sister Mayowa this afternoon. When Igela, people will travel all the way from Japan to go and look for him in Nigeria, they are paying $500 for registration. What is that? It's all about brainwashing and gimmicks and all sorts of, fraud. that they used to collect money from people because people didn't understand their God. They don't know their God. They are not seeking their God. God said, if you seek me, you shall find me. If you diligently seek God, you will find God. People should start running. All these men of God, they are even not better than you people that we are looking for them. Yeah. Most of them doesn't even know the Bible. Yeah. They don't know. There are many of them in UK here. They know me. Many of them have labeled me. If I said, if you get me, I know I've closed down the church. It's by the word of mouth. Then you will know who is a prophet of God. Because all these things you are doing is getting out of hand. Yeah. A lot of people, a lot of family here in UK doesn't go to church again. They said, no. They have seen enough. I said, leave all these people. They don't understand because they have not passed through the operation that it is called the surgical spiritual operation, where Holy Spirit have to take them through Hebrew 4:12, the dividing of the spirit and the soul. They don't know. The general conclusion is that most of them, they are after money. So they are this mammon, all these craze or Yakilume or what is it called, TB Joshua, all of them. All those people doesn't have anything to do with God. They are just a businessman, and they can. God doesn't fight you. If you want to have a kingdom of man, you are free. God has given you, it's a free will. So, but it is the children of God that are under their ministry that we are about to take out of the dungeon. They are him, because they keep brainwashing them, blindfolding them not to see the love of Christ. But this time that you have started this, I know this message that you are passing across is eating deep, is highly eating deep, is going to the end of the heart. And then because truth will be is the abundance of truth that will set those people that are in deception, that will set them free. Yeah. Now people are getting to see the light. They are beginning to think, because the first thing they did is to paralyze their thinking faculty, and that's the same ministry of Satan. 2 Corinthians 4:4. So if they can be doing that in the house of God, what difference are you from the devil? So meaning that all these spraying Igela is using, Igela doesn't have power. It just want to, what they do, they go and get a nice edifice that can attract people. And then they attract people into that building, they start siphoning their money. People should go to God and wake up. These people, they don't even have the power you have as a child of God. You are a Bonaba qualified genuine child of God. They are fake. Why are you going to the fake prophets? They cannot even see themselves. How much more you want them to see something to you? That's where they are being do. But we thank you, sir, for you took it upon yourself to enter into this ministry. Because that's why I told my wife, I said, it's not an easy thing to sit there and be talking about these things. But because God has called you into this, sir, and he that have called you will empower you more in the mighty name of Jesus. He will see you through that, even your dream. Because I saw something, and I told you, but this is the thing, sir. There's a road standing between you and that thing. Yeah. So I've not had the Holy Spirit. You are standing by the right hand side. That thing is standing by the left hand side. I'm not going to measure it, but I will send you an email. But there's a road between you and that thing. So you are looking at that thing, it's written, and you are the right hand side, but a road is standing between you and that thing. So I know Holy Spirit is able to remove that road, and you'll be able to click on that thing in the mighty name of Jesus. It is well with you, sir.
Thank you, sir. I will expect your mail.
Okay, sir. I'll do that, sir.
God bless.
Amen, sir.
Bye. Wow. Strong. Wow. Amazing. I think we still have one caller. So let's receive this other call. And before we end for today, love is a topic that has to be studied in depth. Hello? Yes, sir.
Hello.
Who is calling, please?
This is Frank. Frank from Dallas, Texas.
How are you, sir?
Frank Zaga.
Yeah.
I'm great. So I was calling to give my contribution.
Yes.
About the love message, the love series.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to say that this series is an amazing series because that's really the key to the problem that we have in Africa. It really comes from God because I remember Marcus Garvey, the father of he's the father of Pan-Africanism.
Yes.
He says that in one of his books that the problem with black men is that black men don't love himself enough. And your teaching today is just proving that point. It's just showing us the truth that the African problem is a love problem. Because just like you were saying earlier, we've been broken. We've been broken by so many things, you know, slavery, colonialism, you know, culture. And I believe that even before slavery, something happened to the African culture that just killed the love, you know. And we can see that today even in the African churches. There's no love at all. In my own case, I stopped going to church. You know, I was listening to your messages and still going, you know, having my own freedom to do whatever I wanted to do. But after a little while, I had to stop. And the truth is, my wife is the reason why I stopped, because I was still ready to endure, but she for her, she just said that it was too much. She couldn't, you know, she couldn't take it anymore with the lies and the hypocrisy and the false teaching and then the, you know, mammon in the church and all these things. And yes, this is the truth, that we have a real problem with love, that we really have to learn to love again. You know, the other thing is this series helped me to open my eyes on the idols in my life. You know, sometimes we may have idols and we don't even know. Things that we cherish, things that we don't want to separate ourselves from.
Yeah.
You know, we need real teachings like this. But when you go to church, it's just manipulation. And not only they manipulate you, but they waste your time every Sundays. You know, you go there and, you know, they don't respect the time. The pastor is always late, and when he comes, it's to teach you about, you know, some kind of you know, the rhema that doesn't change anything to your life. You know, so no, that's the truth, Pastor. You know, anybody that has a problem with those teachings is not looking for the truth. Is not looking for real solution for his life. Because if we really want to change our lives, we have to, like you say, one of the level of truth is that we have to tell the truth to ourselves.
Yeah.
You know? How come you go to church? You've been going to church all these years and you have nothing to show for. And now they're telling you that what happened, the thing that the problem we encounter in churches is now, if you want to benefit from the church, you have to worship the pastor.
Wow.
You have to say yes to everything they do, even if it's wrong.
Wow.
There's always something happening where they try to humiliate you and see how you're going to respond. You know? So you basically have to lose yourself to the church. With me and my wife, he started becoming a problem, because that's not what success is. You read something in the Bible and then you live something else. You can be in a church going through struggles and everything, no compassion. You know, people have circles, you know, especially in African churches. People from same country help each other. And if you're not from this country, people will help you in all these things. So this is not what we see in the Bible. This is not church. And we thank God, because while we were going through all these things, we started listening to your messages, and that it was a big deliverance, because, you know, we are the type of people who use their brains and everything, but sometimes when you don't have good example around you, you will still fall. It might happen that you fall for, you know, lies. And we started listening to those prophets and everything who just come and take the money and everything, but listening to you, because you expose a lot of tricks that people are accepting as truths in the church. But these are lies, you know, these prophets going on Facebook and, you know, gathering people information and then acting like they have a word of knowledge and all these things, you know. So coming from a pastor with the success that you have, he came and he really destroyed a lot of things, because you came up and described those things, and when we went, we saw you about idols. Yeah, but actually, these people are lying here.
Yeah.
You know, everything is about money. When you pay attention, even the prophecy, these things are things that you already know.
Yeah.
Deep inside. They just use the power of suggestions. They try to make it make mystical and everything, but actually there's no real power. It doesn't come from God. You know? And the worst was the last that we were following, who was kind of a spiritual father and everything, but today we just, you know, we just disconnect ourselves from him and everything. Because the guy, the big shame that God gave him lately was that he came and said that, you know, Hillary Clinton would be a president, and he fell.
Is that TB Joshua?
No, it's not TB Joshua. That's another one. He's not that famous. But he has people following him and everything, and you know, he might have something. I don't know exactly where his power is coming, but after listening to you understand that it's a lot of suggestion, it's a lot of maybe familiar spirit and all kind of stuff. And in other words, it's not really God. It's not God. But there's no love. There's no love in that. They're just after your money, and you know, they will come and ask you for salaries and everything. That's where you know you have to wake up when they ask you for your salary, and you have to go and suffer and see, you know, your family struggling and everything. After a while, you're like, no, I'm not doing this. And it was really your messages that opened our eyes. But my wife was the strong one. She was the one who started, you know, giving me trouble. And if you keep going to that place, you know, we gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be in trouble with my wife, so I stopped. You know, I stopped, and I don't want to waste my time anymore. I got involved with the mentorship program because I really want to, you know, go back to the basic and know the truth, you know. So yes, this is the truth, and those who have been in Christ for years and who really want to find solution to their problems, who really want to understand life, because when you think about Jesus, why Jesus was able to handle life the way he did, it was because of the relationship he had with the Father, but also the understanding.
Yeah.
Understanding all these things help us to live life, to go through life by faith.
Yeah.
And know how not to do the wrong thing. Because can you imagine you start worshiping your kids and having them die and all kinds of things that you can, the mayhem you can bring to your own life just because you worship things.
Yeah.
And that's what these are the teachings that we receive in church. In church, not in the word, in church. They teach us how to worship marriage, to worship kids, worship money and all these things.
Yeah.
The worst is that they send you out there to get these things and they don't even help you how to get it. Yes, it's a good thing to have a business, but they can't teach you how to do it. So I think that what is being offered on this platform, on your platform, ESA, is great because it's practical Christianity, and we have the testimonies. People who came from being drug addicts and homeless, and now they're running companies and everything. I've been in church for a very long time, and most of the people that I know that I have around me, I'm saying you, they struggle. The only one making money, becoming millionaires, are pastors and the prophets. You know, taking gifts and money from everybody. Last time I was spending some time with the Lord, and I went back to the story. I think it was Elijah who refused, you know, gift from the Syrian general.
Yeah.
You know, and it shocked me because I was like, this is the complete opposite of what we see today. All these men of God, they enjoy gifts. But this one refused, and he told his servant that we're not supposed to get things from these people when what we receive from the Lord is for free. But today in the church, the more gifts you give, the more professional VIP treatment you get.
Wow.
You know, so it's really unfortunate. So That's my contribution. Yeah, I'm blessed. My family is blessed.
Do you speak French?
Yes, I speak French. Je parle français.
So will you be getting some of these messages to French language as well to help some French people?
Yes. As a matter of fact, a few months ago, I purchased a computer, and and I'm trying with my wife. We're trying to see how we can translate the messages, the YouTube messages, and put the French translation and everything.
Beautiful, because they need it. The French-speaking world too need the truth.
Yes, because you know what's going on is that the French-speaking Africans are now going to Nigeria to receive the influence from the Oyodepos and all the other guys.
Wow.
You know, so that Nigeria is becoming the reference when it comes to Christianity in Africa. All the lies and the paganism is spreading in Central Africa, for instance.
Wow.
So we have pastors / idols raising all over the place in Cameroon, in Gabon, in Congo, you know, just teaching paganism. That's what we got right now. So yes, we are thinking about doing it. But the major problem we had was the Uncle Sam problem. We've been busy with crazy schedule at work.
Yeah.
So we end up left with not a lot of time to be able to do these things. But we are working on creating time so that we can do it. Because we know it's going to be a blessing. My dream is to see people stop going to church and be manipulated by these people.
And have personal relationship with God. Yeah.
Yes. I'm working on solitude. But this message definitely needs to be spread because it's horrible what's going on in the churches.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Blessings.
Thank you. Have a blessed day, Pastor.
You too. I think we have other contributors as well. So it's been very constructive contribution, very interesting, very deep contributions we're having today to this message. Hello? Hello? Who is calling? Hello?
Hello.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, it's Ben.
Is that Ben?
Yes, it is.
Oh, how are you, sir?
Good evening, sir. Very, very fine, thank you.
Yes, I would like to hear your contribution to this series and to this topic.
I have a few things to say. I think it was very difficult. I've never called in.
Yeah.
So today is the first time I'm calling.
But I think your wife had called in before.
Yes, she called once. Yes, she did.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't have as much to say in the sense of a contribution apart from the overwhelming sense of ignorance that I just found myself in. Because I found that I don't really know so much. Yeah. And you know, when you're living and you always live every day thinking you know so much and you find out that you don't. And I think this is what I'm really realizing. I pulled out a few points, and one of it was, I started with the first one, was because this love turning to hate, I thought and pondered on if this relates to why, for example, there's this whole problem with firstborns and firstborn sons in Africa.
Of course.
Where you know, everybody's concerned about them, and it comes to the point where they're ready to take them to church, sow seed, and they say do this seed to protect them, but actually it's that love.
It's the opposite. They're idolizing them that way.
The idolizing of them, they actually are the ones placing that curse on them.
Yeah.
So they've created the very problem that they're worried about. And you can clearly see that as cultural, as a cultural thing, you know, in Africa, and how that is having an impact. And so when I thought about that, I also thought how it's easy to, how you can actually analyze a problem of a country by looking at their culture and looking at what they love.
Wow.
So that was another thing I got, that you could actually look at that country, like I know in the UK they're into football and they have passion for football, or something, you just look at what their interests are and what is replacing the place of God, and you can literally decode what could be the issues. So that was one eye-opener for me from today's teaching. Another thing that really got to me here was also there was problems of that. I wrote it down. The culture, I think, yes, I've already spoken about that, about culture, finding out about culture. But while I was thinking about it, because I've registered for your mentoring course, and I've been going over the course. And what happened was, when I listened to your messages, when I've been listening to the messages, I find, I don't know, I feel as if I haven't really gotten it. So I've listened to it like probably 7 times, 8 times, 10 times, and I'm still feeling like this is not part of me yet. I don't feel like it's part of me.
Yeah.
So I've been going over the mentoring course, and I take one, like the first one, Article 1, which was the value of life.
Yeah.
I went over that one, I went over it. I've gone over it about 6 times. I took notes over, because I'm trying to internalize it. I'm trying to take it like, okay, this is one opportunity to reframe all my many years of wrong dog teaching. But now I got into this one, and today actually I was on the Article 2, and one of the things you said was the big 3: wisdom, power, and wealth.
Yeah.
And you said that you read that passage from Jeremiah 9:23-24, where we're not meant to look at those things or go for those things, but instead we should look at life. And what I wrote on my notes, I haven't finished it, I'm only halfway on it.
Okay.
You sort of differentiated wisdom from wealth, power, and wealth from life.
Right.
While I was thinking that wealth is what gives you meaning in life.
Are you serious?
And yeah, because I mean, in life, in status, in life itself, when you are out there in the world,
no,
you don't have any respect if you don't have power, or if you don't have wisdom.
Yeah, but that is exactly what the world has succeeded in doing. It is turning it over its head. It is putting the horse before the what do you call it? The cart before the horse. It is, life. Oh my! You see, this is where the misconception. Not just you. I think. Thank you for sharing this, because I think this thing you are talking about now, that maybe majority, maybe 90%. I can't believe that people in church are still thinking like that too.
Oh, that is. I think it's just what it is. It's what it is. I mean, in anywhere, I don't know. I can only speak for UK. I mean, you don't really have.
But Ben,
yes.
So how can people be going to church and still think like that? If that is the case, then I'm thinking, what is the church doing? So the church is not changing the value system of people. Then
No, the church doesn't go into, because the thing is, the church is praying for you to get these things so that you can actually have that. That's the point. The prayer, what you go to church for, is to get the wisdom, the power, and the wealth so that you can rule on earth.
Are you serious?
That is the concept. Yeah, that is the concept. So you get power. Maybe spiritual power, because you listed the different types of power.
Yeah.
So I looked at it, and one of it was spiritual power.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and I thought, wow, this is so true.
And that is why paganism has been, the church in Africa has become paganistic, because they are looking for power for these things. And when you do that, then the focus is not God himself, it's the power and the blessings. So it's paganism, it's no more church.
Yes, and the thing is that this paganism comes from need. So there are legitimate needs. For example, in Nigeria, there's need for security, there's need for protection. I mean, when I traveled there some time back, this is what I told my wife. I said, you cannot really survive in this place except you really have a lot of money. Because everything, there's nothing, the comfort is not easily available. You really need money to do anything there. So if you want comfort, you have to pay for it. That's the way it is there. And here is sort of, in the UK at least, it's sort of similar because, everybody's going after, if for example, I'll just use my own race. For example, if you use a race example, if you are of color or something like that, and you wanted to make it to anywhere of significance in the UK, you needed to have power. Or if you don't have power, you have wisdom. If you don't have wisdom, you have significant money. At least you have something that is going to give you a ground to stand on, to live, to have any sense of influence or significance. So to say that these three things are no longer the things that we should be going after, it's like pulling the rug off your feet. You suddenly find yourself saying, okay, then what am I living for? Because you're saying life is more important than these three things.
Yeah.
And so if life is more important, but those are things that give life significance.
Wow.
So this is the conflict, because you feel, okay, if you don't have this, then what is in life that is life itself? Because what is the value of life without those type of things?
So, but I think one of the classes, in that same class, one of the books that is recommended is the essence and value of life, right?
Yes.
That is the textbook.
Yes.
Because the article itself is nothing until you get the book.
Okay, the essence and value of life.
Yeah, the essence and value of life. It now breaks every particle of it down. But go ahead. I know you got something. Go ahead.
Yes, because while you were speaking, there was this Bible passage that just hit me, which was this Matthew 10. I never really understood it, and I'd always heard about Jesus saying that he's come to divide man against father, daughter against mother, in verse 35.
Yeah.
And he said, do not suppose that I've come to bring peace to earth. I've not come to bring peace, but a sword.
Yeah.
And he says, man against father, daughter against mother, daughter-in-law.
But I read it today, yeah.
Oh, yes. And that really hit me. I said, okay, so really, I see where that's, the parental thing could actually be the destruction within itself. Within the parental thing ends up destroying the thing it's trying to protect. It's so much. I'm just
look, Ben. The way you are talking now, Ben. Yes. The way you are talking now, you are making me to think that it's like I'm introducing Christianity to Nigeria.
I think that's the way. If you are teaching, you should have that in mind, because this is 101, like foundation. This is it, because
whatever they are calling Christianity, it's just the opposite.
It is, and sometimes that wisdom, when you've heard something as wise, because it's never generic, it might be very simple, but it's not the popular direction, and that's what your teaching is. In this one is just like everybody's going that way and you're saying go the other way. It's just totally opposite what is common sense, in terms of the common sense in quotes. Because common sense says, no, serious, because this is what gets you out of every day.
But I know exactly what you are saying, but is it not the way Jesus was? Is it not the way the teachings of Jesus was? All his teachings, if you go and listen to the gospel and read in the words of Jesus, you will discover that actually they are against common sense, because it's a different lifestyle.
I get it now. I don't see why the Christians happen to have the impact they have. Because they were operating by sort of different principles.
Yeah.
And that's why we are not having any impact, because we're not living by principles. Ben, you will
begin to read my books differently, because this is the whole essence why I'm writing all those books and so many books, because I'm giving new perspectives and I'm giving new understanding of life in a way that is in line with Christ and with God's mindset rather than the public opinions mindset. You wanted to make a point. You are making a point.
Yes, I've been listening to one of your series, the one about life being predictable. And one of the first two recordings, the emphasis you're making is you are emphasizing that the Bible is a book of principles.
Yes, sir.
And I had to listen to that one. I've listened to that one like maybe 10 times now, just to grasp what it's about, because I don't get it. Like, I know the concept of the Bible being a book of principles. I know the stories. I get that concept of principles. But I see that you were saying it in a different way. It's not the same sort of way in terms of, oh, you can get lessons out of it. You're saying that because a lot of things in church really teaches the Bible more like a mystic book.
Wow.
So, you speak those words out of that book, and then once you speak the word of God, it will sort of turn something around. Things that look difficult will just turn around because you protect that word. That's the way it is. So you feel like people put pillow on the bed, the Bible under the pillow, or
what you just described now is what magic is called.
Oh my God.
That is not Christianity, that is magic. So if people are going to church expecting those things, they want to go out, they are practicing magic in church, not Christianity. But when I talk about principles, I am talking about breaking walls. Is it, what do you call it? Building bricks?
Yeah.
I'm talking about building bricks. I'm talking about the word of God should be looked at as those building bricks. As basically the thing you basically take and use it. I'm talking about the word of God and the Bible to look at it as a model, as a prototype, as people should look at it as a concept, models that should be adopted, building bricks that should be used to build their lives on, not just read. In their construction, is a construction textbook, construction of your life.
But the problem is that we need it needs interpretation. So, for example, what's the things you do in terms of teaching is interpretation. It gives you understanding of it. Sometimes, when people don't really have understanding or ways to interpret it, then, because what you see around you, the examples of interpretation of God's word around you are very different, especially if you are in church a lot. So in church, you might have people who they use the scripture, how they stood on the scripture and they got a job or something like that, or they stood on the scripture and got turned at something that would have been an accident around. I mean, it's just those type of things that you hear a lot. So because you hear that a lot, it's hard to start imagining anything else. But it also comes down to this, because I found that the center of everything here appears to be this relationship with God. So if we don't have a relationship with God at all, then you can't really love. That's what it means. Because the relationship with God is the thing that you're supposed to have over the things you are loving. So if you don't have that relationship and you say you are therefore showing love, then it's not possible, because there can't be a vacuum. That's the interpretation I'm having. You are getting it. Now you understand why Jesus said the first commandment is love God. And it is because he is the source. It is from there you key to the source for you to be able to now love people and be able to live life. Wow. Why I said wow was that means the whole set will have to change. That's life set will have to change.
But you are really helping me. You think you are learning from me, but you are helping me because you are helping me to understand how people think. I don't. Now I see why I'm different. What now? I see why people think I'm crazy. Because I would not get it that people are thinking like this. I thought Christians are thinking like me.
No, I mean, the whole thing is because when I said just now that this life schedule has to change, because everyday living is driven by priorities.
Yeah.
So when you have bills to pay, you will get up and you will go to that work at 7 a.m. in the morning or 6, like I was leaving like 6:30, get my train, cross across London to the other side, and I do that and come back at maybe 9-10 average that I come back. So I spend over 13 hours between, both journey and work itself. It's 13 hours every single 5 days a week. And that is necessary to do because you have a job. You have to pay the bills and you have to establish it.
Now you understand. Now you understand the logic behind the books that I write.
Yes.
Why I have to write Uncle Sam?
Uncle Sam. Because the Uncle Sam one, I thought it was you being kind enough to say this system is trying to exploit you, get out of it.
No, what I was doing is to set you free to actually live the kingdom way, the way you are supposed to live.
And it's that kingdom way that I don't understand as much.
Yeah, the whole thing why I was doing it is not because I want to be kind so that the world will not exploit you. No. It's because you are functioning against the way you are created to function. And Uncle Sam is the one that has deceived you and derailed you. So I'm now setting you free, giving you a system to set you free from that derailment so that you will now come back and begin to live your life the way it was initially planned for you to believe.
Oh, wow. Because thinking about it now, I'm thinking, if God was the center of my priority. You see, the thing is that they teach this thing in church. So normal church will say, God should be the center of the world. God is the center. So God being the center means you prioritize God with the tithe and the offering. Or you prioritize God by being in church all the time.
Wow.
Or you prioritize God in doing things for him, maybe going to preach rather than going to do something else. So it always involves some form of a sacrifice, like you offer some sort of sacrifice, some dangerous sacrifice that shows your love for him, or even dancing. So they will say, you love God, show it in your dancing. So you see people dancing funny in church, you just don't know that person is actually trying to reach out to God, really.
Wow.
It's not really crazy dance. It's just him thinking that if David danced that type of dance and got his victory, I need to dance over. The mindset behind people doing things is strange because this is the way they teach it. But I'm thinking and also the idea of when you wake up first thing in the morning, you have to pray because God is the first thing. So make sure it's God is the first person you talk to in the day.
Are you serious?
Oh yes,
Babe, you help me. You help me today. You help me today big time.
No, that is normal. They say the first person you should talk to when you wake up is God because he's the first. So you wake up and don't talk to anybody. Don't just focus. Just get to God. But the whole point is that all those things are really ritual because you're doing that to get something.
That is what is called religion.
Wow.
Because the whole thing is supposed to be, you don't go to dance because you want to reach God at all. The reason why David was dancing, it was because God was his life.
Oh.
It doesn't matter if he dances or he doesn't dance.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
God was his whole life. He could express, he could manifest and please God and pleasure God. Either he's dancing or he's ruling. Or he's in the war front. Or in any area, wherever he is in God. He was manifesting God. He was pleasuring God. So our whole life is supposed to be about pleasuring God. You are not supposed to be waking up to go to job, because that means that you have been captivated. You have been compromised. Instead of you to wake up to want to do exactly what you know that heaven sent you here to do. Instead of you to wake up and know exactly that you want to do and fulfill his heart desire, his heart body, and fulfill his heavenly program. And your life is all about that. So you don't even need to dance to please him, because you are pleasing him every day by establishing his kingdom and by enforcing his righteousness in everywhere that he has set you to be. And that particular sphere of life where he has given you the burden for.
Wow. Okay.
So I see that this mentorship class is really helping you. Then I will really, so it means that I will have to, because it's not enough for people to just be listening to me here now. I think everybody has to go to the mentorship class, because it's more systemic there. So this, because it starts with the essence of life, the meaning of life, so that, because if people don't get that, they will only be coming here to get entertained.
Yeah, and also I don't know, even on the mentorship class, because there's a forum where there's a lot of people putting comments and so on, and I haven't put any comment there yet, because I also find that in church a lot of the things we're trained to do is to repeat things. So because I'm an educator, I'm an educator by training, so I know when you have the case of I could see something there, and I could say, for example, this one. There are three forces, there are three powers, three things you should be careful of, avoid them. When I say them back, it's not going to change anything. Like in education, there's what in some parts of education, for example, my own specialist area is maths education, but there's a part where they talk about meaning making. And they'll say it's important for the child to make meaning of the learning themselves. So rather than to be instructed of it. So if you told the child something like 1 + 1 = 2, and you say memorize it, you've just imposed some knowledge on them.
Yeah.
And they don't have meaning of it. They can't make their own meaning. But if they understand it, for example, they use manipulative things that they can hold, and they put 1 and 2 and 3. They understand the concept, so they can actually expand on it by having 5 and adding 3 to it, and understanding how to. So they're building their knowledge by understanding the meaning and developing meaning as they go along. And I don't know, I'm speaking for me, and I don't know what it will be like for others, but I find that even just going through the course is not enough for me. I feel like I have to kind of go over it and over it and over it and over so many times just to clear, for me to feel comfortable. Actually, I can't even see my own change. I can't even see how I'm changing. I feel as if I'm not changing. When I tell my wife, I don't know if I'm really changing, she says, you've been listening, you listen to this stuff. What do you mean you don't? But I know that some of my actions are changing. So some of the things I'm doing are changing. Some of my choices are changing.
But your essence of life must change, yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to grasp that sense of
now.
Yeah,
you are going to be very much helped. You know when? When you get to reading the books. Yes. We have created a new formula of digesting book, so much that every book you read, you will not just give the exams, you will not just give the test, but we have created a daily planner to help you inculcate and assimilate every lesson into your daily life. On every day is 365 days program to assimilate any subject that you want to assimilate, so that it will become part of your life. Even science says in 21 days that you could do that, but we are repeating 21 days all throughout the years for you, all throughout the year, so that in a whole full year, for example, let's take the book, the essence and value of life. So we'll give you a formula whereby you are repeating lessons on that thing every day for the rest of the 2018. So if 21 days is enough for you to become part and parcel of your life, but we make it 300 days.
Okay.
Just so that by the time you are through with it, you'll just be part and parcel of your life.
And this is another thing that I realized. When I started reading it, I was just telling her, I said, So do you mean actually me and DSA, we're not living the same life really?
No.
Because when we look at you, you're there, it's just like, oh, that's DSA, it's a human being, just standing there. You're not living the same sort of life. It's sort of like people actually are living their reality. That's what I'm beginning to find out.
Now you begin to understand why I was talking so much about people are not human beings. They are biomasses.
God.
So my effort is to convert them back to become human again.
Oh dear. Wow. I don't even know where to start with this one. It's interesting because you just find that, and now see what successful people, they're not living on the same planet with other people.
No, they are living another life, yeah. Another reality.
Mindset is just different. So they don't have the same concerns and they can't have the same, it's not the same reality. So if you are living for money, for those basic things, so therefore the church is just producing a group of failures.
No, it's not just a group of failures, but a group of people that are insulated from the life of God. Not from the life of God, but being deceived to believe that they are living the life of God. But apart from them failing in life, that is even the small thing. A lot of other people are failing who don't go to church. But how can you go to church and be failing? But that's even not so annoying. But the most annoying part of it, that the very God that you are professing to be worshiping, the system of the church and religion has insulated you so much, so that if you will not even, you are there in church, but you are so divided, you are so insulated from him, that there is no amount of Christianity and activity, religiosity that will actually get you to him. He's getting you farther from him.
And that sounds very much like what Jesus used to say of the Pharisees. Because he said that they were the ones that were stopping people from coming to the kingdom of God.
Now you personally, because you are a thinking man and you are taking so much effort to think, you will now understand why I have to do all those 6 months of attacking and exposing and correcting the African church. Paganism, syncretism, all those things. Why I have to do it with such zeal and with such energy and with such drive, because I know exactly what it is. They have taken away the key of life, not just the key of knowledge, but the key of life and the key of eternity from people, and they are blocking them, and people are so deceived that people are sure they are in the kingdom of God, whereas they have been driven away from the kingdom of God and put in consecration camps.
And they are aware of it. They know what they're doing.
So that's why I go to bring out the light and shine it so wide and so big, so that at least people will know that there is an alternative somewhere. So it's now your choice, either to go to the light or to remain in darkness.
And actually, I think another thing is the pastors and leaders are actually doing this because at some point they compromise on those three big threes: wisdom, power, and wealth.
Wow.
So wanting that power or wanting wealth, because I don't know, when I was very little, I lived in Nigeria for some part of my life, and in those days, being a pastor was never a thing everybody wanted. We lived in the north even. So, being a pastor meant your life was in danger. If there was any riot or so on, it was Ben Kwashi who is like Bishop of Jos in the Anglican thing, who used to be our small church pastor then. And we saw it where his house was burnt down. We had to give him things, so people had to give him things. And his house was burned down so many times. In terms of he's always been under his life under threat. So that was the sense from the north. It's later just evolved into this thing where being a pastor really is a powerful position. And so everybody if you want to make it in life in a way, a very good route is through ministry and through church. and through that sort of way. And so people are doing that and building all sorts of things to deceiving people because they have to make it. So because they have to make it on the back of other people. And so they exploit people's potential, exploit people's time, exploit people's life, and destroy their faith. And that's what's happening in a large scale. A large scale. Oh, I think I've spent more than the 3 minutes. Well, thank you for everything. Thank you for everything. It's been, I think, when you started the talk about pastors and we're knocking on this.
Yeah.
I said I remember that when I came to Ukraine, this was 2008 or so. You had a meeting for us. You had a meeting for the people who were international visitors in your house.
Yeah.
So the people who were international visitors and we were in your house, and we had to sit with you to eat. And first of all, I thought, wow, because that was not, like I said, I didn't understand you then, because I just didn't get it, because I felt, wow, he's really big. You know, Crefredola, that was the year Crefredola came. Crefredola was there, so on. But at that small meeting, you did mention, you told us there, the things that, you told us some things about Crefredola, and people were upset, and some other people that I know were quite upset, because they used to follow him. But all the things you're saying now about either pastors or so on, you mentioned it there. This was 2008, and you mentioned it there, that what the church is doing is wrong, and what the way we're going and the direction we're going, it's just materialism, and that money and so on. You mentioned those things, but I couldn't get to it. I couldn't connect it, really. I couldn't connect it. I saw one of my old notebooks, and this was after your visit to London. You came to London and you visited, and after that, I looked at the notes, and it wasn't the notes when you were there, the notes after you left. And everything was to make sure that what we learned didn't really settle. Everything was sort of counteracting it and bringing in the sense of, your prophet is the one you have to listen to, and all those type of things. And it's now that I really realize that, wow, we are really wasting a lot of time in our life where we should be, being in God's presence and building ourselves and our relationship with God first. Well, I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah, because you are saying, have you changed or not? I can see that you have changed, because I can see that you are becoming a Homo sapiens. You are thinking. You are questioning things. The biggest change you could desire in your life is to be able to think. And thinking starts with questioning. Now that you have started to do that, that's one of the most important things any human being can do. Something that's more important than marriage. Something that's more important than children. Now you have started thinking now, after you've been married for how many years, having children. But this is what you are supposed to have done long before you got married. Not thinking about, going to work or getting a job or going to university. That, the kind of thinking I'm saying. This is the kind of thinking, the essence of life. That is what we are supposed to put at the foundation of everybody in church. And every person that says he's a Christian, every family even. So now that you are thinking like this, critically thinking, definitely for me, and that is a sign that you are a new man, because that thinking is exactly what you need. You don't even need my teaching, because the thinking itself will take you to the teaching. It will take you to the answers. And then that thinking will make you to work on yourself and make them become flesh in you.
Okay.
So I see the difference. Yeah, it's a big difference. That's where it should start. And you have started well.
Well,
keep on thinking, keep on questioning, and that you will now see that there is a purpose, a deliberate purpose for each one of my books, because he's reshaping and redirecting humanity back to the original purpose and the original intent. how God
Yes.
intended humans to function on the earth.
Yes, that's so true. I did buy some of those old books then, but I couldn't understand them. I actually there was this CD you had with about 200 messages or something like that in one CD.
Yeah.
I listened to some of this, I couldn't understand it. That's then. I couldn't, because the level was just, it's now with all these teachings we have now that I can actually maybe now start listening to some of those ones.
And begin to process it.
And, yes, now I can now make sense of it, because those ones probably assumed, I think they were for many people in the church, so they've already, people that have already been grown from ground up with a form of teaching. And just the same with the books. The older books, they just go straight into the matter. The newer ones you have now kind of give a lot of stories, give a lot of examples. They sort of let you in gradually into the topic than the older ones. So I'm finding it useful in that way. I'm now revisiting some of the old books and looking at them again. I think the greatest insight I got so far from everything that seemed to be is that it's the insights you have that is who you are. So rather than going after things, you should seek for insight. And your insight is who you are. And that one, I've never, ever understood that. It was really listening to your messages that I got that sense.
Yeah, but that's why I'm commending your questioning ability and your reasoning, because now you are now only creating your own philosophy of life. That is what it is. You are supposed to create your philosophy of life, and your philosophy of life informs on your worldview. So, and your worldview is how you live, is what you act out. So what I'm trying to do now is to now bring kingdom worldview, paradigm, mindset to Christianity, rather than Christian worldview, which is just some vague something that people don't even know what it is.
No. One question, sir. Can I ask one last question?
Yes.
The other day, I was one of these series listening to. You said you read books, and that you read 10 books in that week. I want to know, what books are you reading? Because at this stage, we are reading your books. I'm wondering, what sort of book would you usually engage in terms of reading?
Now, the thing with me, at my stage now, things are very difficult for me. It's very difficult for me to see who to learn from or who to listen to. It's a big challenge. That's one of my biggest challenges. But no problem. I have to go through a lot of trash to get some tangible things. So I need to read a lot. That's why I need to read a lot.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, I thought I would just ask when I had the chance to. Yes, so thank you very much for everything, sir. Thank you for what you're doing and for not giving up on us, because I remember then you never wanted to do anything with the Africans because it never really made sense to you. But I thank God that He in His mercy allowed has extended this kind of truth to us, really, to engage with.
But you heard yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, when Adeshola was speaking, that she called one of her friends, and the friend said, you are listening to Sunday Elijah. That man is an enemy of, please delete him. Don't listen, because it's an enemy of God. He's an enemy of Christ. It's an enemy of the church. He's an enemy. Please don't. He hates the church. Please, nobody should be listening to him. And then, apart from that, I also know that all Nigerian churches have prohibited their members from listening to me. And then, besides that, all the GOs, they meet all the time, and then what they do, one of their something is that God should get rid of me. They are raining curses upon me every day on their altar, prayer altar. Now you are saying that you are thanking God now that I've started giving this to Africans, but it's the mystery. It's a tragedy for a lot of people.
It is, and I think it will continue to be, because I know personally, because I know family members. I understand what you're saying now completely, so completely that I even know why it will be like that. I don't think that will ever change. I don't even see it, even when you've gone to Nigeria and you've probably, impacted on the culture and impacted on the country and everything comes around. It's still going to be there, that one. Because that's something that a lot of people have already lived their whole lives. People's whole lifestyle is framed on these teachings. Everything they do is framed on it. It's just like this one I was talking about, the big three: wisdom, power, wealth. If your normal life is like that, like you wake up to either make money, or you're waking up to increase your knowledge through getting a master's degree or something, so you can say, this is what I have, and then that will increase your power, and then you can use that power to get a higher job. If you are thinking like that, usually, and somebody just comes and says something that is opposite to that, it's either you stop and say, wait a minute, I'm really tired of what I'm doing now. Let me listen and see. Maybe there's something different here that I can learn from. Or this person is trying to threaten my power from actually, or me coming into wealth, or me coming. So it becomes an opposition. Because systems are built. People have built systems around those church way of life. Their whole personal life system. Like, your protection, you put anointing on, you have anointing on the cupboard, you have anointing on you've done so many things. You have mantle, you have all sorts of things. So if your whole life and progress has been defined by those things you have, if something is going to take that away from you, then it has to be, it's literally like saying, start all over again. You didn't know anything, start all over. Yeah. So then they'll say, who do you think you are?
Well, that's exactly what I'm telling them to do. Start all over again. Just like you are starting all over again now.
Yes, I'm starting all over again. But I'm starting all over again because I've known you in a way. Because you've come over to London. You've come before. You've spoken then. I saw it. And I found out that you were the only person that really cared. Because when you said what you said and left, the people who attacked you and slandered all this thing you are, didn't give a hoot about me later when I had to leave or when I had my own issues. They didn't care. They just, once you fall off grace or whatever, they run you under the bus. So nobody really is going to stay. So for me, I sort of know, to have known you, sort of. So I can only speak for myself. I think that's why. I think for me, I didn't have any hindrance. But some people are in a place of comfort, where that system is already comfortable for them. They have the job they want. They have probably the family they want. And they like the whole idea of doing things in that type of way. So if it's going to change that, then it's like, it's opposition to them. So they don't see why, they don't have enough reason to want to do something different, or why they want to change, because they have the things that they are getting, the things that they want, and they like the community of, the community of church and the community of the social thing it creates. They like this essence of them against us, so at least you have a side and you feel like you have protection. People like that. So, but for me, I didn't really have all those type of things. I'd seen myself like someone who'd already failed. I mean, I left church. When I left, I went to Church of England. And before that, for maybe 2 months, I wasn't even going to church at all. And when I'd left church, I'm very disappointed with church. My next thing was to turn to work. So I started working. I completed my teaching profession and started building myself up, trained myself up to senior leadership. So I was just working. I just took on work. So diligence, I read Napoleon Hill. I started reading all those type of books, Napoleon Hill and motivational books and things like that. And but that was when I started listening again to you again. I think my wife said, "Oh, you started speaking again online." I said, "Okay, I'll listen." And then, when it came to this Uncle Sam thing, that was when I thought, "Oh my God, wait a minute." So everything I'm doing here is actually wrong, because when I left church and started going out on my own, I felt that was my escape. I felt like that was my way of doing something. That was where I was putting all my energy. But only to find that even that itself was another empty one, like the church too. That, I had to go for God instead. It's what I'm getting today, really. That it's God that is the real center of everything. So it's been quite a long journey, but I do understand, why people would act in the way they act, because the pastors have ways they speak to people, and they control. They have a lot of influence over their lives, over people's lives. They have a lot of influence, and people, have ways of thinking from childhood. So when something new comes in, is difficult to take, even when there's proof. And I also think that maybe because you're not on TV there, or you're not on radio there or something, you're not all the time there, and many of them are not connecting to listen to you here. So you need, if I could even get to where I am now by listening over something 10 times, one person, maybe they've only listened to 3 of your messages during the time when you're talking about the church, and that's the thing that they're using to paint the whole thing. They don't have a wide picture. So there's no, they don't probably get enough of the access to the messages available. I think that's another thing. If it becomes more prevalent, if the type of message is there in Nigeria, I think people will respond a lot more. People will start to understand what it means. Yeah, I don't think they know. Yeah, I don't think they know.
Wow, Ben, you called for the first time and you broke the record. Blockbuster you are. Thank you so very much. Made a lot of sense. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Keep on keeping on.
Sir. Yes, I will. Thank
blessings.
You, sir.
Bye.
Yes, blessings, sir. Bye.
Well, guys, I guess it's time for me to round up. If I don't round up now, in 1 minute, Facebook is going to switch us off, because we're already on for almost 4 hours. So God bless you guys. See you tomorrow.